Greetings, everyone. And welcome to wait a minute, what happened? Edition of Monster Party.
Monster Party.
Monster Party.
Monster Party. Oh, and it's the new year. The wonderful new year.
Thank God.
To be honest, for us, it isn't quite the new year. You're going to hear this in the new year.
Yes.
But we're actually recording this before the new year. We don't want to lie to you. We're not liars.
Man.
But it's the spirit of the new year.
Are you mad now, Larry, that I gave away the secret? I thought you wanted to be honest with our listeners.
I do.
You want to start over again, Larry? Then we don't say you want to lie to our listeners. That's fine.
No, you're right.
Because what if something happens? What if something crazy happens and then we're just talking like everything's fine?
Yeah, because nothing crazy has happened so far in 2020.
Yeah, right. What if tomorrow, because this is New Year for us. This is New
Year's Eve.
Yeah, what if the Germans
New Year's Eve.
What if the Germans bomb Pearl Harbor tomorrow?
Thank you.
Right.
Right.
No one.
I mean, come on.
Yes. What if Reptilicus resurfaces?
Yeah.
I would celebrate.
What if Tina Louise got COVID?
Oh my goodness. Well, too soon. Too soon.
Yeah.
Look at James with the gallows humor here.
Jeez.
Wow. You never know when he's going to go dark.
Well, who are you, sir? Who are you?
I am Matt Weinhold.
I'm SHAWN SHERIDAN.
I'm Larry STROTHE.
And I'm James GONIS.
And Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Well,
yes.
Welcome to the new year, listeners.
I'm psyched. I'm putting a positive spin on things. I'm going to look at
You
the
are.
glass half full.
Okay.
As I'm sure everyone else is.
I want to see how that goes.
Yes. And we have to be here for our listeners, though, too, to get us through.
Yes.
Yeah,
No.
these times.
It takes a village, and we'll discuss the village maybe later. But
Aren't you saying that we need to be there for them, Sean?
Yes. Yeah.
We're here for our listeners.
we are, but they are also here for us because their support and just the fact that they listen to this show helps us get through this as well.
And many of them give us gifts.
It's fuel.
Too.
Yes, it's gas in our tanks.
Yes.
Right.
And so I'm sitting on loads of gas.
Okay. All right.
Ready to go for this really fun topic that we've chosen.
Yes, and this is one from James. James, I think you should introduce this topic.
James, what is our amazing topic?
Our topic is what the fuck endings.
What the fuck endings?
Or if you want to be PC about it, WTF.
That's what I thought you were going to say, WTF.
But everyone knows it. That's what it means, though.
Yeah.
I mean, for the kids listening.
Oh, no. We're not going to. Well, we can now going back to the first year of the show where we have this argument over like the kids. Yes, gather around your 4-year-olds to listen to these grizzled men in their 50s talk about how hot Jenny Agutter is.
All right. My
Hoist
glass
a few.
is half full.
All right. Okay. It's already falling apart.
So I think we have to clarify this topic a little bit more.
Because I'm not even exactly clear.
Yes.
You know what? A movie or a show ends and you walk away just saying WTF. What was that? Whether it was a twist you didn't see coming or whether you didn't quite get what they were going for. Maybe it was ambiguous.
Okay.
Or it could be, it could be disappointing. It could be infuriating. It could be wondrous and amazing. It's just
maybe it was
an ending
just
that
stupid.
sticks with you. And
It was just stupid.
it could be memorable for good or bad reasons.
Yeah.
Hey, James, do you got one right off the bat? Because I know you do.
Well, of course. And, we might as well start with the granddaddy, and that would be Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho from 1960. And by the way,
Are you insane?
Interesting. Why is he insane?
That's not. You explain that one to me. You didn't like that ending?
He's not saying he didn't like it. He just explained the topic to you.
10 fucking seconds ago, we just said it could be an ending we love or hate. Are you not listening?
Listen.
Get off the fucking craft beer, okay?
The thing is now, I mean, Psycho's a classic. Everybody knows.
Yes, a classic.
And by the way, listeners, be forewarned. This is going to be spoilers.
Spoiler.
That's true.
This is the spoiler show.
This is for listeners who most likely are going to be familiar with most of these films, but if not, yes, we will be giving away in some cases the endings of what happened.
So maybe for my sisters who haven't seen a lot of these films, maybe
all right. So we can't
go to a different episode.
Larry's sisters didn't see. We should probably do another topic.
No, I mean, now everybody knows that Norman Bates was his mother, but
wait a minute, what?
In 1960, this was kind of a new ground. You didn't see this a lot, and it surprised a lot of people. And by the time I saw the movie for the first time, I guess I was 9 years old. It was new to me, and even though I had read a synopsis and I already kind of knew from a kid's book called Monsters of the Movies, who he actually revealed that Norman.
I love that book.
Oh yeah.
It was like my first monster book.
That was like one that was in the school library a lot, right?
Yeah. You could buy it through Scholastic.
Yes, right. Yeah.
But even though I knew the ending, it was still like, oh my God, you see him coming in with a knife and John Gavin tears the wig off of him. It's like, holy shit. And I mean, again, now it's almost like a trope, but
yes, you can't really do that again, although many people have.
Yeah.
But back at the time, this was something pretty revolutionary, and it was brave, and it was pulled off brilliantly, and it changed. I think it was extremely successful for Hitchcock, and it I think amped up his game as far as sensational advertising went and trying to get butts into the seats. So much so that even in his next movie, The Birds, he even kind of ripped off some of his own techniques. But
I had no idea, by the way, in The Birds that it was the birds. by the end, I was like, "Oh, the birds are the killer."
But let's not forget that at the time, this was a major deal. And while I'm at it, I would also throw out Psycho 2, written by Tom Holland, who was
yes,
where it couldn't have the originality that the original film had. It did throw in kind of a what the fuck toward the end.
Yeah. It was. I thought that was a good mystery throughout that film. Who was doing the killings and everything? I like that.
Yeah, and when we had our interview with Tom Holland on the show,
a great episode,
and he really illuminated a lot of what he was going through putting this story together and how
the responsibility of
and
the pressure he had.
What he was up against, because to paraphrase him, he said he was doomed no matter what happened. They were going to jump on him because it's just not Psycho. He's adding to Psycho, one of the classics of the genre. And so, man, that's a tough lift. But I really think that movie is even better than it was received. Yeah, because it did well. It led to more sequels.
Yeah. And it managed to kind of ride that line of like a sequel to a cherished classic film. But we have to remember, this is also coming out still during the time of the slasher boom.
Yeah.
And obviously we're going to make comparisons to that.
Right.
But it managed to be still a classy kind of like sequel to a classic film, but also I think satisfied, the horror crowd of the time. I think
it set itself apart, I think.
Yeah. And it's also very funny. There's some funny stuff in it with Norman and that like dark humor.
Yeah.
And it's actually really quite good.
Yeah. Well, it also set the tone for how Norman would be kind of depicted, the approach to Norman. Suddenly it's like, okay, well, how are you going to handle it? Well, let's treat him somewhat sympathetically.
Right.
And that's why the climax of Psycho 2, when it comes, turns out that it's a doozy, and I guess I'm paraphrasing it again. Spoiler. But there's a waitress in the town who was actually responsible for the murders that Norman was supposedly committing. And once she confesses this to him at his kitchen table, what does he do? He picks up a shovel and knocks her over the head with it. It's like, holy shit!
He's the Punisher.
Yeah,
totally unexpected.
Yeah, it's really good.
When I hear WTF, I think of something it's something I don't like. And both of those films, the original Psycho and Psycho 2, I love the ending of Psycho 1. And Psycho 2 surprised me. When Norman hits that lady over the head, it totally surprised me. And then all of a sudden, you hear the old lady's voice again, and then she gets propped up, and Norman is back, did his old game.
Well,
He's back, and I loved it.
It cleverly kind of reworked what really happened in the original, but then brings it back to the way things are in the original.
Full circle.
Very cleverly, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Now,
good job, Tom Holland.
And yes. And okay, James, okay. Look, you mentioned a film that was going to be my number one, because to me, the WTF endings, I'm talking about 1963, Alfred Hitchcock's The Birds. Now, that film made me so mad. I was so angry. I'm thinking, okay, look, and I know what Matt's going to say. Matt's all, Larry likes closure. He doesn't like ambiguity. He needs something explained. You say that.
I do. Yes, I do.
Yes, but it's like
guilty as charged.
To me, a great film is when it's explained. Now I know why things happen the way they do. And
a voiceover at the end with the birds found it in their hearts to change their ways. Move on.
No.
Another city.
So look, if you're not familiar,
they once again rejoiced in bird seed and
if you're not
shitting on cars.
This is Alfred Hitchcock's film, and it stars Tippi Hedren and Rod Taylor, and they're like this couple. She goes to visit him in this town, and so there's this drama that's supposed to happen here where, there's this kind of like tit for tat thing that they've got going on. And then there's, his mother who doesn't like her. And all during this time, while they're trying to figure out this stuff, there are these birds that for no reason whatsoever start attacking people. And guys, I just watched it the other day, and it just made me even more angry because there are some sequences in it that are actually comical. I mean, I can see Matt laughing. And he go, ha, ha, ha. Like when the birds attack these kids.
I do laugh like a pirate.
There's this girl, she's like kicking her legs, and I can imagine Alfred Hitchcock comes over to her and says, "Now, little girl, what I want you to do is just kick your legs when this bird is picking your head."
I didn't know James Mason was in the movie.
Look. But when you get to the end, I want to find out why. Why are these birds attacking this town? What's the reason? Is there some
let
evil
me
witch? No, I'm talking.
Okay.
New leaf.
All right. Okay.
Is there some witch that's like cast a spell on the birds?
That would have been great.
Is there some kind of nuclear waste that the birds were like bathing in or something?
Better.
And or is it the devil appeared and he's possessed the birds? But it's like what you get at the end, after Tippi Hedren has been attacked and she's kind of freaked out by the birds, they slowly walk out to the car and they drive away while all the birds are still there. And you're like, so nothing is solved. The birds are still there. We still don't know why. And I remember going, is that it? I don't know why the birds acted the way they. That is a WTF ending. I hated that ending. Hated it.
I like the ending. I don't think it's a what the fuck ending. I think it's sometimes bad things happen, and the mystery of it is what makes it scary and spooky. We don't know what happened, so we don't know how to solve it. We don't know if it's going to happen again. And it's up to you. It's your interpretation. Maybe it's just nature rebelling against us.
No,
and
I don't want my interpretation.
You wanted a scientist to come out of a bunker and go, "I've been manipulating birds for 20 years and I made them do this." You think that would have been good?
Yeah, it would have helped me. It would have helped me as a viewer.
Okay, let me ask you this then. If someone had postulated, well, maybe this is what happened and there were some competing ideas, but they didn't explain it, would that have been better for you?
Yes. For example, in Tremors, when they're trying to figure out where did these things come from, they poke out a couple ideas. I think it might have been this. It might have been this. We don't really know, but there are some possibilities. And there's nothing like that ever brought up in The Birds.
Okay.
And it just made me so mad.
Okay. First of all, The Birds is not one of my favorite Alfred Hitchcock movies. I like it. I do like it, but it's not one of my favorites. My problem with The Birds is not the ending. My problem with The Birds is I think it was almost too ambitious in its filmmaking because they were not able to accurately or effectively, let's just say, carry out the effects.
Mm-hmm.
I think that all the blue screen stuff with the birds all over the place took me right out of it.
So you think if it was redone, script as is, Matt, you would go, damn, that's a great film.
I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that. I'm saying I felt like if that movie had been done and they had maybe spent a little bit more money training birds or using just real birds in every shot, like when the birds are hitting the phone booth.
Yeah.
I think that's genuinely scary. It would have been scarier if you didn't see all the blue screen birds all over the place before that.
Mm-hmm.
But I think there's a lot of really good, scary scenes in that. The ending is not the problem for me. But I understand that, look, you've got this thing that you need everything tied up in a nice little bow at the end. And Tippi Hedren, and, she goes off and gets married.
When I watch that film, it's hard now for me when I watch it, and it's not like I watch it every other week. No, but it's like when I watch it, I think to myself, Alfred Hitchcock on the side going, throw another bird at her, throw another bird. Because we know that.
Well, then I would agree with you.
He had issues. Alfred Hitchcock had issues with Tippi Hedren. There's a great movie, I think was it called The Girl?
The Girl, yeah.
The Girl. A really great film about the relationship between Tippi Hedren and Alfred Hitchcock during The Birds. And that's what I see.
Good? Is that a good movie?
I
Very
did.
good.
I very good. Yeah.
You liked it? Okay.
I did.
James?
It gives a whole.
Toby Jones, the British actor, does an amazing Hitchcock.
Sean, did you see this?
I've not. I've heard of it, but I've not.
Okay.
Well, trust me, it's a good film. It goes through an explanation as to what happened during the making. And I mean, Tippi Hedren, she's it's no secret. I mean, she's admitted what a pain in the ass he was, what a creepy guy he was, and whatever.
Yes, yeah. I have heard some of those stories.
Look, very talented filmmaker, great stuff.
He had issues,
but he had issues, and The Birds, his ending. WTF.
Yeah, but it's not one of my favorite movies, so I will agree with you there that it is a flawed film.
All right.
I agree. It's technically flawed, but I think, like Matt, I think when something is unexplainable, it can be terrifying. And it's the idea of chaos, and nobody's looking out for you, and nobody knows what's going on.
Yeah.
You're in the dark.
Yeah. What the fuck caused this?
So freakish and so weird and so dangerous and life-threatening, and you can't explain it.
And we're not safe. Terrifying. By the end of the movie, we're still not safe.
Exactly. Those birds are still out there.
To me, the ending when they drive slowly away and all the birds are watching, that to me is one of the most tense moments in the whole film. Is the very ending.
That's creepy.
The last shot is maybe the scariest part of that movie to me.
Actually, nothing is solved. Nothing is solved.
That's why it's terrifying.
That's why it's scary.
Now,
it's called horror.
No, I know what horror is.
You don't really like horror.
Yes, I do.
You know.
James, how do you feel the same way?
The ambiguity to me is one of the saving graces of that movie. I think it's beautiful.
I agree.
Awesome.
I agree.
If it were explained, there almost no reason to have sat through it.
I'm sure there's a slew of listeners who are going, Larry, you are right on.
All right. Well, wait a minute. Okay. So if we're going to bring that one up, how about the mother of all what the fuck endings? And that is 2001 Space Odyssey.
There you go.
Yeah.
Now, that's one that has been argued and examined for years. It took me reading, I don't think I read the book because, with 2001 Space Odyssey, it's based on an Arthur C. Clarke story called The Sentinel. But he also wrote a book.
Right.
Which he was doing at the same time that he was writing the screenplay. And the book explains a little bit more. Now, I saw this movie when I was 4 years old in the theater.
This is from 1968, Stanley Kubrick director.
Yes, saw it in the theater. Little kid, didn't understand a lick of it.
Sure.
I understood the computer going crazy. I got. But everything else, the minute Dave leaves, in the pod and goes heading into the monolith in space, from that point on, I'm like, what the hell is going on? But as a kid, as a 4-year-old, I remember being really intrigued. Like, I did not find it boring. A lot of people find that movie boring, but I was captivated.
Yeah,
and I was like, what is going on? Yeah, I agree. We just watched that, by the way, like last week. And
oh, really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And that thing really holds up. The effects are still beautiful.
Oh, definitely.
And that ending, you've got Dave flying through this dimensional portal with all these colors. And I mean, it goes on for a while. And then there's a sequence when he's traveling to the dimension of the part of the universe where the monolith aliens live. And some of that is like, okay, this is like Death Valley that they ran through a filter, but still it's beautiful and it looks creepy and weird. And
yeah,
I go along with it. And then by the time you get to this room, this stark white room,
right?
And you're like, what is going on? I got it fully explained, not when I read the book, because I didn't read the book before I read the Marvel Comics adaptation.
Oh, yeah. I think I had that too.
Yeah, I have it signed by Jack Kirby.
No.
Yeah, Jack Kirby artwork. It's so beautiful.
That's right.
And he's the perfect artist to do that.
Yes,
too.
yes.
In a way, he's almost the kind of Kubrick of comics. But so you got Dave, who's flying through this dimensional portal, lands in this room, and this room is like, an alien's idea, plucking whatever knowledge they have from Earth history and Dave's own mind, and they put together this little place that, like, hey, it'll make you feel comfortable.
And he gets food.
But just even the way that Kubrick directs the different stages of how he goes from being younger Dave to older Dave, where he looks and he sees his older self, and then the person looking at the older self is no longer there.
Yeah, what's the editing too? Is a genius.
It's so good. It's so great. And
to me, it's like, I think Kubrick probably intended it to be, many people can interpret the ending how they want, and it's about humanity elevating itself and expanding consciousness and whatever, going to the next level of reality.
Evolution.
So I mean, it's and to do that in a movie, to visualize it in a movie, especially in the 60s, you can only do so much. So I think to take it in that more surreal, obtuse kind of approach is the best way to do it, because.
But people like Larry are infuriated by that kind of thing.
Well, look.
They look at that and they go, "What's going on?"
Well, as I was watching it, and you see the little image of a little baby, and he's kind of inside the
like an egg kind of thing, or a bubble, or
egg, and the monolith is kind of the background. So. I guess interpreted, because it seems so sharp, smart, and intellectual. I'm thinking, so I guess Dave was turned into a baby. They had the power to turn him into a baby, and now they're going to transport him to Earth so someone can give birth to him or something like that.
So you've got that scene where Dave is in this room, and we're seeing him go from older to much older to now he's on his deathbed, and he sees the monolith.
Yeah.
And you cut and you see this baby, this fetus flying through space toward the Earth.
Yes.
Which I took it as, now, first of all, I don't think he's literally in a flying bubble.
No?
As a baby. No, I don't think that's literal.
A space bubble?
It's like his consciousness, maybe.
Yeah, I think it's a way of showing us that this new being, this being who is now higher on the evolutionary chart than any human has gone, is now going back to Earth, and he will somehow be impregnated in somebody, or be the new level of human being on the Earth.
See, I thought it was literal. I thought he was in like a space bubble, flying through space.
He's like little Kal-El.
Yes.
I was going to say the Great Gazoo, but
and he will be transported into someone's womb.
To take it literally, to have like a little baby, land on the Earth, and then the hatch opens and the little baby gets out and goes, "Who's my daddy?" And I don't think is going to be Literal?
This,
I thought
this
that was
is
symbolic.
this is pretty topical because as we speak, there are monoliths turning up all over all
That's
points
true.
of the globe right
Yeah.
Have been,
now.
Yeah.
A
Yeah.
mysterious phenomenon. No one's
Yeah.
behind that.
Hopefully humanity will learn from this, and hopefully we can all advance as a race, and we
Well-
all can become smarter and help our planet. I'm looking at this glass half full for 2021.
I appreciate that.
Look, Matt, you bring up that's a great WTF ending.
That's one that
there's
has been debated.
Yes, there are no birds as the baby's flying off through space. No.
And I think at the time that movie came out, nobody had a clear idea exactly what it meant.
But if you remember, at the time it came out, we've said this before, they publicized the film as the ultimate trip. It's like, and for audiences back then, late 60s, it was a it was a way to escape from everything, and just like it was an experience.
Right.
For many
Mr.
people,
Reefer.
It's an experience.
The monolith should have just been a bong.
A
floating bong.
A lot of people look at it that way, but as opposed to just a smooth beginning, middle, and end.
Yes, but Sean, I don't think. Look, that what you're talking about though is an advertising campaign that the studio was trying to capitalize on. But the original intention, the funny thing about 2001, it's one of those films where sometimes, and look, I claim to be one of these people. Sometimes there's stuff that's just so way over your head, and you're going, I don't totally understand it, but I kind of see what happened. I connect the dots, kind of a thing. Sometimes it's maybe too cerebral. Again, it's not birds all over the place attacking a town and just sitting there while you drive away and nothing's solved. This is just kind of like, whoa, what's out there, and where's that baby going? And
when it comes to science fiction, would you say then, Larry, you're a little more comfortable with ambiguity?
That's a good question. I will say, if we're going to take it film by film, I say 2001. It's one of those endings that is like, boy, I'm trying to expand my mind and try to figure out. To me, I did take it more literally. I thought that he was turned into a baby and he's in like this space bubble and he's going to be transported back to Earth and he's going to live again. Essentially, he may not remember what happened.
I think his essence, yes, that's true. Everything you're saying is true, that his essence is going back to Earth. I just don't know if all of a sudden on the radar, when he got into Earth's orbit, like, we got a baby coming in, like air traffic control is going to be like, hey, can you send fighters? We got a flying fetus coming in.
Can you imagine, the follow-up to that? And when they did 2010, if it was, well, the baby landed and the baby was a super intelligent baby and we put the baby in our military complex and we're learning from the baby and the baby can talk and, he's telling us.
I didn't like 2010.
See, that's the thing.
I thought 2010 was way too over-explained.
That's exactly. 2010 was the exact opposite of 2001, in which they over-explained everything, and it's one of the most talky films you ever see.
I did like the explanation.
There were sequences of it I did enjoy. I don't think it's a terrible movie.
It's not terrible.
The approach of it was really opposite of what Kubrick was trying with his. I mean,
yes,
it really is like, okay, let's make everything really clear and explain everything to everybody, and there's no ambiguity. And that ending of that movie, I hate it.
Although I will say this. Just really quickly, because Sean, I know we need to get to yours. WTF in 2010, the whole advertising campaign was the year we make contact. What I wanted to see was these aliens who dealt with this monolith appearing and going, hello, I am the alien. And we don't get that. We never get the alien. What we get is the stupid text that's sent to the computer. Ooh, that's contact. No. Yeah. I want to see the alien. I remember being pissed at the end of that.
Yeah.
I liked all the explanation. But when you get to the end, do you remember it's this text? These planets are for you to share. I'm like, what?
I mean, I don't know what ending would have been better. But
well, and that's if I remember correctly, I believe that is the ending that Arthur C. Clarke wrote in the book. Possibly. I just don't like it.
But cinematically, it doesn't work.
No.
James.
All right, Sheridan, you got anything?
Oh, well.
This is definitely a freaky, weird ending, but one that I love. And Matt, I know you love it too. And I think it works really well for this film. And that is from 1981, Lucio Fulci's The Beyond.
Well, yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
but that's a freaky ending, because if you remember specifically, you have these characters trying to escape from the living dead. Basically, everything's gone
demonic
to hell.
living dead.
Demonic living dead. Everything's gone to hell because of this kind of book.
Literally gone to hell.
Yeah, and the gateway to hell is open, and it's to the point where our two protagonists are in a hospital, which is overrun by living corpses and mayhem and blood everywhere. And they, at one point, they run for this hallway, and they literally, the next step, they're suddenly back in the basement of the house, which was the source of all the supernatural stuff happening. They're suddenly in the basement, and they can't explain it. And they're still being pursued, and they kind of run, and they're kind of running through this basement, and then they end up in this kind of like dark desert oasis of nothing, which is basically hell itself. But the way it's done, it's not overdone. Like, it's kind of literally, the next shot is like they turn around, they're here, and like it's really disorienting, but in a really good way. I mean, it's basically just all the checks and balances of reality are gone, and they're kind of doomed, and they end up.
They're not kind of doomed.
Yeah, they
they're
are
doomed.
And to the point where they are in this kind of hell, and everywhere they look, everywhere they turn, they see the same spot. It's the same vista in front of them. It's so freaky, and it doesn't really make much sense literally, but by this point in the movie, it's like, well, it's supernatural, and I think it's perfect. I think you go with it. It makes sense. It's just,
I think it makes sense.
Yeah, it's more.
I think
more
it makes
disorienting.
sense. I think the thing that's so what the fuck about it is how bleak it is, and how we've been following these protagonists, and in most movies, the protagonists come out ahead. They
escape. That's the thing. It's inescapable.
Yeah,
but they just literally wander themselves into being completely fucked.
Yeah, they literally just wander into hell.
Yeah,
which is kind of insane.
And the way that hell is portrayed, we talked about this before, but it's just when you look in all directions, and it's just a wasteland, and there's no way out, and there's never going to be a way out.
Yeah, and that Fabio Frizzi music score playing, and your eyes go white, and it's like, holy shit.
Yeah,
and it just works really well.
I think that overall the downbeat ending is a general what the fuck in any movie where it's there's nobody came to save you.
Right.
God didn't come to save you. You are screwed.
Yeah, which it's in itself it became a trope. I mean, especially 60s, 70s, you started to see that kind of, Easy Rider had a big impact.
Sure,
on the downbeat ending.
A nihilistic streak in a lot of those films.
Or like any 80s slasher film, like, oh, the killer's finally dead, and suddenly he pops up again. I mean, that is a little bit of a what the fuck, but which sometimes becomes actually predictable, but if done well, I mean, and I think in The Beyond, they did it really well.
Well, in certain movies, I know Easy Rider isn't necessarily a genre film, but the ending of that was a statement.
Yes.
It almost had to end that way.
Yeah. But I think so did The Beyond.
And The Beyond too, yeah.
Everybody's fucked.
Right. But and also just through the filmmaking and the way everything is shot, it's almost like a haunted house maze of terrors that are bombarded with through this movie.
Yeah, and again, going back.
And where are you going to go? Well, how are you going to top that? You wind up in hell, and there's no way out.
Right, and again, because it's so nonsensical, it makes it terrifying. Like
yes,
if you're running through a building and you end up somewhere else, I think it's just really frightening.
And I'm trying to. What's the name of the movie? Open Water? Is that the one with the sharks?
I've not seen that.
Yes,
but,
I've seen that. Yes.
Yeah, and that's one where it's
your hope through the whole film. You're getting to like, how do I solve this problem? How do I solve this problem? You basically for people who don't know, Open Waters, you have these two people. I think it's a husband and wife. Who go do scuba diving and with a group, and they're supposed to do like a counting heads thing, and they do, but the guy makes a mistake
confused,
and so what happens is the boat leaves and they haven't come up yet, and they come up and they're in the middle of nowhere in the water. It's like, what do? You could say, well, I'll just start swimming. Well, guys,
Where?
It's miles. And what direction do I go?
Right. Yeah.
And then what happens is something snapping as you're bobbing up and down and you're trying to do something. I mean, on one hand, Matt, I really enjoyed it.
I think it's a great movie. I don't think I'd ever want to watch it again.
Yeah. So since this is a spoiler, what basically happens is the husband is basically eaten by a shark and torn apart basically, and then the wife knows it's only a matter of time.
Yeah.
So why not take control on my own? And she takes off the scuba tank and everything and just kind of dives down, and you don't see her anymore. So you're assuming she's going to dive down and drown herself basically.
Right.
And then if I remember correctly, then they cut to finally somebody on the boat.
Yes.
Going like, didn't we have?
Yeah. Well, and then they start to head out. Yeah, but it's too late.
It's way. Yeah.
But
Wow. So it's kind of like a Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid kind of ending.
Well,
right.
Well,
I mean,
a little less.
I thought that they had.
What the fuck? Let's just do it.
I thought they could escape.
They're going to get killed.
With her, she knew. Think about it, guys. You're gonna go now. You're gonna want to get eaten by the shark. Or do you want to take control? Like, I'm going to end it on my terms.
Right.
And I've heard that drowning, like the minute you inhale water, that you kind of pass out, and that as dying goes, it's relatively painless.
Well,
that's what I've heard.
I'm personally terrified of the idea of not being able to breathe or.
But you wouldn't.
It's terrifying.
But what I hear is that you inhale and then you're done.
Again, if it's super quick, I guess. Yeah,
you're not going to go scuba diving then.
Probably not.
I'll take drowning over being burned alive.
Yeah.
Well, what about you being eaten by a shark?
No, I'll take inhaling water over being eaten by a shark.
James, chime in.
Well, no, I just. Open water, you could probably offer me maybe $500 and you could not get me to see that movie.
Not even the first time?
Nope.
You've never seen it?
Nope.
Why?
Really?
Not for me.
Close-minded of you.
I do not want to be vicariously in a situation like that.
James,
there's no eyeball stuff involved. There's no
James, your number one favorite movie of your lifetime is Jaws.
Yes. Yeah, but that doesn't mean that Jaws is an adventure thriller.
This is an adventure.
Grandpa over here, he don't like the hardcore scares anymore.
Yeah, that's why you don't like the ending of The Mist, which is the best thing about that movie. Oh, poor little kid gets shot by his dad. Too bad.
Look, why don't you and Larry hold hands?
Hey there, Flyboy. Just a second. I actually liked The Mist. Okay. And
you like open water too.
Look, I'm just saying it had an ending. It ended.
Yeah. It's a clear ending.
Yes, the mist was clear. Look,
shitty ending. A clear shitty ending.
No, James.
But that's a what the fuck ending too, though.
James,
yes.
You're in that car. You've got creatures all around. You only have a couple bullets left. You want to see your kid be eaten? No, I'm gonna kill my kid too. And then it's like, okay, I've run out of bullets, and then all of a sudden, the army comes. It's like, oh shit.
Yeah, aren't you an asshole for having just shot your kid? I mean, what's the takeaway?
James, we said this before. It's horror.
I know.
But James, I see your point. And I have to say that if it were me, I'm an optimist. And I would wait till the very I actually am. And I would wait till the very last minute.
Well, like that's what he was doing.
The monster didn't have one of the kids in its mouth.
No.
I would wait till the thing's tearing the lid off my truck and then maybe do that, as opposed to, all right, we're stuck out here. I mean, but I still went with it because I bought into the whole darkness of that finale, and I thought it was much better than a lot of what was going on earlier in the film, which was
histrionics that were
annoying, right?
That was like, oh my god! I think
like that stuff.
Annoying.
It's
Matt.
It's what's his face? What's his face? Green
Stephen
Mile.
King. Stephen King.
Darabont.
Matt,
what?
If you're in a grocery store,
Darabont.
If you're in a grocery
who if not contained,
there are going to be people in there that you don't like.
Yeah.
And
right, Larry. But you have to make it. There's this thing called editing. and there's this thing called subtlety. Like
Right.
it's so overdone.
Screenwriting.
It's like when Walking Dead was at its worst, when there's so much melodrama and so much.
I agree.
No,
That's
no,
Darabont.
no.
Like he goes out of control sometimes.
No, I disagree. That Walking Dead lost
I think
to
so.
me when
But and the ending
had nothing to do with
was
the show
ballsy.
anymore.
I agree. I agree with Sean.
What about me?
Hated it.
You don't agree?
Did
with
you
me?
like? What about
I
the rest
don't
of
agree
the
with you.
movie?
I agree with you about the end.
Fine.
Whether we agree with the ending of The Mist or not, whether we like it or don't like it, I think we can all four agree that it's a what the fuck ending,
True.
right?
Oh, yes.
I mean, it's
Yes.
you
Absolutely.
did not see that coming. Yeah, so I think we can leave it at that.
Okay.
Yep.
How about you, James? Do you have another one that you have on the tip of your brain?
I'm sure you do.
Yeah, in a recent episode, I came down on Joe Dante a little bit for Small Soldiers, and
You
I
did.
think I could pinpoint the exact moment that Joe Dante jumped the shark in his career,
Okay.
and this was his big feature after Gremlins a year
Oh,
later.
no. Oh yeah.
Never getting
Explorers.
that show.
Yeah.
Explorers.
Yes.
Yeah.
Where you got these three little kids. One of them's River Phoenix and one of them's Ethan Hawke. And they build their own spaceship and they travel out into space and they connect with aliens. So this isn't the end of the film, but it's close to the end.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's not really. It's a reveal 2/3 in
Yeah.
about.
I have so little memory of this film, so please
Yeah.
walk me through it.
Well, me too, except for that reveal.
Well, that's
I don't
just
remember
It's not a terrifically memorable movie otherwise, but the reveal is flabbergasting
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
up until that point, it's more or less kind of whimsical fantasy sci-fi,
Yeah.
but it's
Very,
taken
very
kind of-
Spielbergy.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I remember the aliens being kind of cute and goofy.
Cartoony.
Well,
That's an
that's just-
understatement.
Yeah, the aliens come out of a Warner Brothers cartoon.
Yes. Okay.
Isn't it literally the first thing that Alien says is, nah, what's up, Doc?
Yes,
isn't
exactly.
that the first
Oh
thing
my
literally?
God.
Exactly.
Because they're watching Earth TV shows.
Cartoons.
So that's the
They're
only way they can
movies.
communicate through our pop culture references.
But
And
wouldn't
they're-
it rather say the plane? You know,
I'm surprised it didn't.
They're a little like the aliens in The Simpsons and the Treehouse of Horror. Those two
Only
guys.
only goofier.
Goofier. Yeah, they're more
Seriously.
cartoonish, and this
they're not
blatant
funny.
like Rob Bottin foam rubber things, and Robert
Yeah.
Picardo plays one of them. But it's just like, wait a second, what is this? A completely different movie?
Yeah.
What,
yeah.
And then I find out after the fact that they were rushed into production without an ending, so they had to basically improvise one.
What was the end? I
But-
don't even remember. I
that's
don't even know if
they
I got,
didn't
to be
have
honest, I don't even know if I got through the whole movie. I may not have.
I don't remember it at all. So you have to.
Yeah.
What is this ending?
Well, from what I recall, they end up building another ship because they were able to build the first one, so they build another one. But it's a pretty forgettable movie considering
Yeah.
all that was involved. I mean, it had a really good Jerry Goldsmith score. Dick Miller's in it, like he's in a lot of Joe Dante
Well,
movies, so that's fun.
We do love Dick Miller.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No, it's like I think you're right, James. I think it's like many of Dante's movies after this. I still say that they're a series of pop culture references and industry cameos. That's
Yeah.
all his movies become. At
That's
a certain
it.
point, it's like
That's
why you're making this for me.
And that was it. Yeah,
Yeah.
jaw dropping.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's the later stuff has been hit and miss, but I'm always rooting for him.
Me too. No, I
Well-
know he's obviously a monster kid, and look, I still think his best stuff are his first couple of movies. Like
Yeah.
even Piranha is a great, solid
Yeah.
drive-in horror film.
I
It's
agree.
scary. It's funny. It's got a great cast. And The Howling is fantastic. You know,
And they
it's
talk
like, I
about
mean,
a great ending, The Howling, where Dee Wallace turns into a
Yeah, no,
Right,
those are kind
It's
of
like- yeah.
those are. I mean, I don't care if they're low-budget driving. Those are classic genre films. They're great.
Yeah.
I did kind of like, and I say kind of like, the Looney Tunes movie that he did.
Yeah. Back in action.
I don't think I don't even know if
Yeah.
I got through that. I'm never.
Yeah.
I've no
I
desire to
did
even
kind of
enjoy it.
enjoy that.
No, it was
There's
fun.
this one scene in a lab where he just goes nuts with the references and the cameos.
I've seen that. Yeah, like oh look, I've
Yeah.
seen sci-fi movies from the 50s.
No, that's
Okay.
true. That's true.
Yeah,
Look,
okay.
you know, it's funny. We poke and we make fun a little bit, but Joe Dante is a wonderful guy. He is such a terrific guy. He is so knowledgeable about so many movies, the stuff that we love. And it's kind of what Matt said. I'm always rooting for Joe Dante. I have met the guy. I've seen him speak. I've some films that people kind of poo-pooed about, he defended, and I loved hearing his explanations. He is a movie fan. He is a true monster kid. He and John Landis, they share that love for, classic movies from the 50s, whether it be sci-fi, fantasy, horror.
We started out I'm cutting trailers.
The weird thing is,
movie trailers.
For today's audience, when you're watching MCU universe or the stuff of that nature, it's almost like for Joe Dante, it's really hard to be a filmmaker from the past and try to do something that you consider revolutionary or something that's really cool for today's audiences. But I'm always rooting for him, and I'd still love to get him on the show, and perhaps we can have an explanation about why Explorers went the way it did.
I think I'd enjoy that.
Yeah. Well, look, James, so we've been kind of talking about endings that's like WTF. Maybe you don't like him so much. I want to pick a film that has been picked at because of the ending, and I want to defend it. And I am talking about the film from 2003, Lord of the Rings, Return of the King, Academy Award-winning film. People have said the ending goes on and on and on for like 45 minutes. The whole point of the three films is Frodo and Sam need to destroy this ring. Once they destroy this ring and they come out on the rock and they're picked up by the eagles and they are saved, you think, oh my God, that's where the film should end. But then there's so many unanswered things. Well, what about Aragorn? Well, then they have to show Aragorn becoming king of the land. That's what they have to show. And then it's like, for what the adventure that the hobbits went through, what happens to them? You can't just end it there. And so it's like you see the hobbits go back and how they look around their wonderful little town. And it's like, yes, they're home, but no one will understand what they went through. And they click their glasses. Okay, that's where it can end. But then you need to realize that that's not the end of the story. What about Bilbo, and what about the end of Middle Earth? And so it's like, it seems like it ends and ends and ends. For someone who's a fan, I loved how the reason why I loved it so much is it ties up all the loose ends. It explains to everybody, this happens, then this happens, then this happens. And I love the ending. And people say, well, it ends for 45 minutes. Yes. And I love it. I absolutely love it.
Well, I can understand why you would love it, because you like things explained to death. And so that makes sense, because that's 45 minutes.
It's not explained to death.
Look, the thing, I love those movies, and I even love that one. Carrie, my wife, hated that ending. To me, I just kind of like, all right, let's just sit through it and get through it, because the movie really ended a half hour ago, but that's fine.
I have a bone to pick with your wife.
The thing is, when you make a movie that is based on a book, you have to make a movie. You don't necessarily have to make the book, as long as you're capturing the feel of the book and the plot, the major plot points, and you're being respectful. I think that works better than trying to put every single little detail. I read those books a long time ago, and I thought for the most part, Peter Jackson did a great job of distilling. Mm-hmm. But this last part I felt was not the greatest filmmaking. I thought there was a better way to tie everything up than these long drawn out scenes, one after the other, that were anticlimactic.
Yeah, that's what it was for me. It was anticlimactic. Like I enjoy them. I think movies are fantastic too. They're amazing pieces of cinema, but I do think it's weird. Like, I haven't really revisited those in quite a while. And I don't know why. Like, it's going to be such a time commitment to it's like watching.
That's
it's
true.
like, I got to watch have you ever seen this series? No. Yeah. It's about 5-6 seasons. Okay. Like, I mean, Larry, it's like you like deciding you're going to finally sit down and watch Doctor Who or something. Like, that's kind of, I feel like about the Lord of the Rings trilogy. I mean, I do like it a lot, but I mean, I don't know.
I might go back to it. I might go back to it before the end of my life.
It
I
always brings
admire
a tear
those
to my. It
films.
always brings a tear to my eye. It always
I wouldn't.
does.
But they do indulge. It is like, you know, and what about the Hobbit films did that even more, I thought.
Although the Hobbit films, I will say, were better than I expected them to be. I enjoyed the first Hobbit movie, way more than I ever thought. I saw it on a plane, and I thought it was great. And then I saw the second one. By the third one, the problem with that was that they had run out of book.
They shouldn't have had a third one.
Look, I will say this. Everyone knows The Hobbit is one book. Lord of the Rings was 3. They made 3 films with the Lord of the Rings sequence, the trilogy. With The Hobbit, what they did is it was like for Jackson and his team, they kind of had to do 3 because they thought, look, for us to max out, I mean, for us to really make some money here, we need to stretch it out. And look, they did. They did. Yeah. It's so funny you should say that because that's one of the gifts I got my daughter. My daughter loves the whole world of Lord of the Rings, and so we're like halfway through the last one, and she loved Smaug and everything that they did. But it's true. It is
great though.
Beautiful and. I'm just saying the ending for Lord of the Rings, Return of the King, because it seems like it has an ending and then an ending. I'm just saying that I know you guys saying it takes long. If you watch the sequences themselves, I don't think are that long. And it just
feel long.
I'm just saying it ties up all the loose ends. James?
It definitely, I remember that the ending did drag, but as I was sitting through it, my point of view was, look, I've already invested like 9 hours in this whole thing. What's another 30 minutes?
Maybe watching them maybe revisiting them, maybe revisiting the home video, like watching the Blu-rays or DVDs at home in your own time. Maybe they wouldn't seem, because when you're, in a theater, when you're trapped in a theater and maybe
you pee and
maybe
you're out of
maybe I should
hot tamales and
so maybe I should revisit them again.
It didn't
save my home.
It did not. I felt like for Carrie, it almost spoiled the movie for her, which that I don't get myself because it did not. For me, I just felt like, hey guys, this is a little unnecessary. If you ended it here, you'd get more bang for your buck. Less would have been more.
Well, maybe she's just of that generation where, MTV, she wants.
Yeah, that's what it is. She's MTV.
She's the MTV generation.
She's Susie MTV. Yeah.
She wants
with their music videos.
Yeah, she's Martha Muffin.
She's a little younger than
Duran
you, by a bit. So she, maybe she likes things fast, and quick cutting and something.
I don't think so, but hey, have we all seen It Follows?
Yeah.
I have not seen it yet.
You've not seen It Follows?
Not yet.
All right. Well, this is going to be a quick one.
No. Spoil it. Go ahead. I'll take it. Go ahead.
Well, that's one of those endings that when this movie came out, it had a bit of controversy because I loved it. And I thought that it was just fun all the way through, including the ending, which some people had a problem with. And
I don't understand why that ending was so
I don't know either.
There wasn't, I guess because the ending is just a little ambiguous final shot.
It's that's ambiguous, but it's not that ambiguous.
No, you're right. It's not even that, but it's like it's a single final shot where you could just think like, uh-oh, and that's it. And that's great.
Yeah. And so It Follows, 2014. This is a movie that if you haven't seen it, it's about a supernatural entity that is like a curse. If you have sex with someone who has been cursed by this entity, the entity will now follow you. And it's always after you. And if it gets you, it's going to kill you.
Right.
And the way it's done in the film, it's really spooky because you always see these people that are following you from way in the distance.
Yeah, like vaguely following you.
Yeah, you're like, and you're to the point where you're not even sure if that person is actually following you.
Right.
And only you can see it. And
there could be other people walking along with them. So if somebody says, "Is that person following me?" I don't like it, but there's
what person?
Yeah. It's really good.
It's really creepy. And so within the film, you find out that you get it through sex. you can get rid of it if you have sex with somebody else. You'll give it to them. But then if that person is killed, it'll go back to you.
Right.
And so this girl gets it. She has sex with this guy who she likes. The guy ends up tying her up and explaining this whole situation to her of what has happened to her now, and that she's going to have this creature following her. There's a teenage guy in her neighborhood who's like a kind of a nerdy dude who really loves her. And he's like trying to be her protector and help her throughout this. Spoiler alert, at the end of the movie, he helps her by having sex with her. He gets it. And then he's giving it to prostitutes that they find at the end. But what happens is that, of course, at some point, the prostitutes are going to get killed, and then it's going to come back to him. But he's always doing this to protect her.
Right.
Because he's in love with her. So the last shot of this movie is him walking down the street with the girl, and you see somebody way far in the background, and that's it. That's the end.
Right.
And I don't know how many people just raged against, oh, what bullshit. That's the ending. Yeah.
Yeah.
The ending is, and it's one of those endings that I enjoy where it's, look, man, this is life now. This guy is now protecting this girl who he's always been in love with. He was finally able to be the knight in shining armor in a way.
Right.
Who saves the girl from the curse. Yeah, he gets to have sex with prostitutes.
Oh man, I gotta have sex with another prostitute to save my loved one.
And and he's killing these women when you think about it.
Right.
Because
it's a death sentence for them.
Yeah. But he's doing all this because he's going to protect his woman. And you could tell that she really appreciates this. And so, I mean, it's not a perfect life for them, but he's resigned himself to this new reality where he has to be, the fence between her and this supernatural entity. And the end is just a very simple shot of them just walking together, and they have a nice little smile between the two, and you see this person in the background, and that's it. And it's not even explained that person behind them is this entity coming after them.
You don't know.
But
you don't know.
Wouldn't it have been better though, Matt? Wouldn't it have been better if there's a little then it fades to black, then it says 35 years later, and you see he's an old man and he's in some prostitute place, and he goes, I just can't get it up anymore. I just can't do this.
I like this sequel. I really do.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then you hear his old wife go, "No, you must get
out there.
I can't do it." And then all this, just
take this Viagra and shut up. I almost see it like a Laugh-In, where it's like a little old man on a tricycle trying to outrun one of these entities. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh no. I like this sequel. We need to work on this.
We do.
But that's one. Do you remember, Sean, like the outcry? I don't know how many people.
Yeah, I understand really.
Yeah.
Well,
that was bullshit. Like it erased everything that went before that, which I would say, even if you were a little disappointed by the ending for whatever reason,
right?
There's so much good stuff in that film.
Yeah. Well, Matt, in the same way that It Follows got some backlash for its ending, this film that I'm about to mention also got a lot of backlash. But I love this film. I think the ending's great, and it's scary. And that would be 1999's The Blair Witch Project.
I'm so happy you brought that up.
Because that movie, as we know, I consider this movie groundbreaking, and I think it's.
Me too.
I think it's great.
I love it. Love it.
There's a lot of detractors. They just think it's not. I don't know why. I think if you look at that movie on what it is and when it came out and what it was trying to do, I think
the history behind that, it was like
and it's not. No, it was not the first found footage movie, but it's the one that started the big trend, in the early 2000s.
Yes,
but the end, and the premise of the movie, as we know, is these students, these kids, filmmakers going out into the woods trying to find evidence of this legendary Blair Witch, and there's all these horrible stories around it, and they end up being terrorized in the woods.
They get lost.
By you don't know what.
We don't know.
You never know what. And the ending, they kind of find this deserted house or something, a shed or whatever. And, it's found footage. So it's a POV of the.
It's two separate cameras. I believe it's a video camera and a film camera.
Yeah. And Heather, I think, is the girl, and the last surviving guy. They end up like in this basement. Something happens where, she's holding the camera and she's kind of attacked or something by something. We don't know what. And her camera falls, and her camera falls to the side. So we're seeing they're like kind of like this basement or this deserted room out in the woods in the dark. And you see her camera is on that side, and it shows her friend now. You don't know what the fuck happened to him, where he's just standing against the wall.
Standing in a corner.
Facing the wall.
Which is so creepy.
And she's just screaming, and then it just ends.
Yeah.
And I can't remember I'm trying to remember if in the movie somebody mentioned something about, the witch would take her victims and make them stand in the corner or something.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So there's that. So that right there is not super ambiguous. I mean, it's like, well, look, the witch got to her. I mean, the witch got to him, and it's getting to the girl as we end up, as the tapes end. But a lot of people didn't like that. You never see the monster. You never see like bullshit, man. That ending is terrifying.
Yeah.
And the screams that the whole terror, it sounds so real. I mean, I could have you listen to Tippi Hedren screaming in The Birds, and it is nothing like this girl Heather in Blair Witch, which is just terrifying.
Well, and that's the thing too, I think a lot of people forget, is a lot of the other found footage movies that came after Blair Witch, two things they often didn't do right. And one was the realism of why a camera would be shooting something. They did it right. It worked perfectly in Blair Witch because they're students, they're filmmakers, they're trying to film everything. They all had a camera, and it was the idea that this footage was found, and somebody put it together and compiled it together and edited it to show what had happened. But a lot of the weaker found footage movies take a lot of liberties.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also, though, what I think a lot of the found footage movies don't do well is the acting. If it is not done just right, it just does not feel real. Because the whole point of found footage is that, oh my God, this is like I'm looking at somebody's tape of something that really happened. And if you don't have good actors, then it's blown. And watch Blair Witch again. Those are all unknown actors, and they're all great. They're all super good actors, and you believe them when they're terrified. It just works beautifully.
Yeah.
Sean, would you also say too that the stuff that came after, it was a little more slick?
Yes,
it was
exactly.
a little more polished, a little. There's something that's very raw.
Yeah,
about.
I was just about to say that the rawness of their performances and the filmmaking is what roots it in reality.
Matt mentions what they do is there's two types of footage. There's film footage. The film, it's 16 millimeter. That's what the students are using to document this. Right. The video that they're filming is kind of like they're behind the scenes to document themselves. Right. And by going back,
you're right. It's the slickness.
It's so good.
If it's too slick. Yeah. And they made that movie for nothing. So I mean, like a good example, like watch the original Blair Witch, and right after watch Cloverfield. And see the difference as far as Cloverfield had tons more money.
Yes.
But they were still trying to do a found footage movie, but the actors in that don't come across real.
Terrible.
Like it's like, the monster's cool and all that, but like
monster's cool.
But it's not believable really.
No.
I mean, not 100%. And that's why
Sean, I'll argue the shaky cam in Blair Witch was better and more steady than the shaky cam in Cloverfield, which makes me sick.
But the problem with Blair Witch and the understanding of Blair Witch is that not every movie is meant to be seen on a big screen.
Exactly.
That is a movie that is meant to be seen on a small screen because it's found footage. It's videotape. I think a smaller screen gives it an intimacy that you don't get by putting it up, stretched out. And, how I saw it, I'm sure a lot of people saw it, and the brilliant marketing campaign that they did was to sell it to you as something that may be real.
Right.
Once again, to give those actors their rewards, they did such a great job in selling this by not pushing their acting, not making it too dramatic. It seemed very much like, and I know that, how they filmed this thing was they would just give them these film canisters with some instructions, and each actor would not know what the other one was getting. Right.
Yeah, there's
so they could just improvise.
Yeah, there's spontaneity, there's a realism in it, and like when they're arguing, when they're confused and what's going on, like it's just really well done. I mean,
and they even comment on the fact that why are you still filming?
Yeah.
For people who are not familiar with the Blair Witch, also understand that when this film came out, like Matt said, there's this found stuff that was put together and was at a film festival. What they did, one of the marketing things that they did was they did not have the actors kind of went underground for almost a year.
Yep.
Right.
It was like there was no side of them. So what happened is when the film was released at first, not in a theater, it led to these film festivals. People came up with these questions. Where are these people? And they go, well, they were these film students, and so it created this big buzz on the internet at the time.
Right.
So part of the marketing plan that they did was brilliant. Now that ending, Sean, I will agree with you. It's a WTF ending, but I did love that because
good. Yeah.
The other thing too is when you mentioned they plant a seed in your head about explaining about, well, there's a switch, and I think they had kids like go against a wall or a corner.
Right. They keep it vague.
Heather is running through the house in the last minute or so, you go up the stairs or downstairs. If you look, there's all these little handprints.
Yes.
Dark, almost covered with ash or something.
Yeah.
And that sent chills up and down my spine.
See, when something is not really explained, or it gets your own mind thinking, what the fuck happened there?
It's like there's just enough, Sean. There's just
enough. You're right.
Well, I'm glad that you liked the ambiguous ending of that, because I think with a movie like that, it almost needs an ending like that because it's found footage.
So yes, I agree with you there. Yes.
Right. Yeah, that it's like, whoa, wait, well, what happened?
Right.
It's not a movie. It's a found footage thing.
Right.
Right. Yeah, it was a clever gimmick and it worked. And it's, I just think it's kind of a timeless film. Like I can watch that anytime.
I agree. And Curse of the Blair Witch, which was this special that came out after. And if you get the DVD, it's always on there as an extra.
It was like a Discovery Channel special or something.
Documentary, which is also really good. Great. And it's a nice companion piece to the Blair Witch Project because it explains a little bit more.
Yeah, but still,
it doesn't take away from the original film.
The main thing is to just stay away from Blair Witch 2, which is
my god,
utter garbage.
That's no good. That's no good at all.
Yeah, but Blair Witch, great.
All right. This film is a classic, and as many times as we've talked about it, I don't know how much we've talked about the ending. And this is 1968, Night of the Living Dead.
Oh well,
one of the greatest endings ever.
Yes.
Yeah. Where you've got, this house full of survivors of a zombie apocalypse that are fighting the zombie hordes all night, casualties one by one. When only one survivor is left, the protagonist, Ben, in the morning, he looks out the window, police mistake him for a zombie, shoot him in the head. He's dead. Now, shocking because on the surface, he's the hero. He's been successfully fighting the zombies almost single-handedly all night, through incredible adversity and horror, the worst horror we've ever seen. And it seems like such a waste.
Well, it seems it's so effective because the people who shoot him don't know. They're not evil. They're not bad people. Well, they think they're cleaning up the zombie. No, they're rednecks and all that. But they see him pop his head out. They think he's another ghoul and they shoot him.
Yeah.
And see, James, that's the one thing you said. Police. It's not police.
Yeah,
that's
it's like
the
a mob.
thing.
Yeah.
Imagine
it's the mob.
And you think about it. Where have we seen this? Where it's a group of people who I've got my gun and I'm going to go. And it's like sometimes you just assume something, and it's you say the rednecks or
it
it's
is
like
the
these
redneck
hunters.
Sheriff, though, right? It is
yes, but the guys aren't police.
Yeah, they're like deputized.
Militia.
Yeah.
Well, the thing about it is George Romero cast a black actor to play Ben,
yes.
Dwayne Jones. And he's gone on the record, Romero, is saying that there wasn't any significance to the fact that Ben is black. But when you've got a redneck posse, shooting a black character and, putting him on meat hooks on a pile of burning bodies, you can't help but come away from it with all of that symbolic significance.
Sure.
And that has been part of what's added immeasurably to the legend of Night of the Living Dead. But part of, for me, the beauty of that ending is that you can approach it in different ways. You can sort of take it at face value of the narrative, but you can also read a lot more into it. And that's one of the things that makes it such a fantastic film.
And also they go beyond just the shot in the head credits, but it's the freeze frames of the images over the credits that really, and with that music, that really makes it even more creepy and disturbing
and powerful.
Yeah, and just like, oh shit,
I mean, that movie got a lot of criticism when it first came out. I know a lot of people went after it for the violence in it, and even reviewers like Roger Ebert. No one could see the genius in this film.
Yeah.
And how wonderful Dwayne Jones was. We had movies that had black leads before, but you've got this very strong character who was definitely in charge. I think it's kind of a breakout role, African-American role in a horror movie.
Yeah.
Any movie. Like he's such a wonderful actor, and it brings so much more to the film by having him in it. There's a lot that you can interpret. But when you see that last scene where, he's been going through, the tortures of the damned to get to this place of survival and to have it all, and that way from the living.
Right. It's the horrible irony of it. Right.
Yeah. And, I wonder too, if they would have been so quick to shoot if it had been a white person in there.
Mm-hmm. Right. Maybe. You could read that into that. Yes.
But that's again, a great piece of art and wonderful filmmaking that you can have an ending like that and approach it from so many different directions. I mean, anybody who talks shit about that movie, I just baffles me.
Yeah.
And the reception also just goes to show you how far, film criticism has come, even just general public terms of appreciation of horror as exploitation or as art, because way back then, all these movies were essentially considered exploitation. I mean, Hitchcock, okay, that's different. But all these other things were grindhouse, drive-in.
Oh, yeah.
They were relegated to, to matinees or, shitty, theaters in the outskirts. And Night of the Living Dead was just part of that grind.
Yeah.
But it was a lot more than that. And, now it's
taken seriously.
That way.
It's absolutely taken seriously. And I also feel that it has a lot in common with Blair Witch in the sense that there's a rawness to it that grounds you and pulls you into this world. When you add the television broadcasts and the documentary feel that this whole thing has, and the actors are great. They're not too slick.
No, right.
By far, Dwayne Jones is the guy who just knocks it out of the park. But he is believable and real. And then you've got the flip side of him, which is Barbara, played by Judith O'Dea, who's just falling apart.
Right.
Yeah.
And the juxtaposition between the both of them, God, I never get tired of that movie.
No, me neither. I love that film. And, you guys mentioned both films. We also need to take in consideration the times that these films, when Blair Witch came out, that was a new internet age. Okay.
Right.
That was relatively new. And that was one of the things that helped propel that film. With Night of the Living Dead, guys, just with the whole civil rights and the uprisings, for Dwayne Jones to have that lead, and that's amazing. That the reason why Romero said, well, he was the best actor, but gee, what a lucky accident that when that ending happens, what a powerful statement, what a tragic ending.
Yeah.
And I would think that if it was a different actor, it maybe would not have been as powerful a film as it is now. And to this day, Matt, just like you, it's one of those films. I mean, I watch every year, whether it be Halloween or something, but and I get the same chill every time I see it.
Yeah.
So WTF Ending, when I saw it the first time, James, I was shocked.
Yeah.
I don't know. No. And I remember and when that music came in, and as Sean was saying, the still images, it was just horrifying.
Well, because also Lyra, we were conditioned to expect some sort of catharsis.
Right.
No, it just.
And you're really rooting for Ben.
Oh,
I mean,
from the very beginning.
From the very beginning, this guy is, even when he gets frustrated, everything is justified. You go like, he's got this.
He's resourceful. He's level-headed.
Yes,
right.
And he's tough when he has to be, but he also
tries to be helpful and
he's gentle when he has to be. Like when he realizes that Barbara is falling apart, he absolutely softens his tone and tries to get through to her. And
even more so with the Coopers when they're saying you can't, and Ben says, I can carry the kid. I can carry the kid.
Right.
And it's like, look, he is saying that he's not saying, oh, we'll just leave. No, he cares. God, it's such a powerful performance. Great film.
And, the job that Tony Todd does in the remake is pretty wonderful as well. I love Tony Todd as an actor.
The 90s one that Savini did?
Savini did.
Yeah, that's pretty good, actually.
I like the twist that they do with Barbara.
Yeah, they do some fiddling around with the concept, but I do think that's
it's not in the same league, obviously, as the original, but there's some interesting stuff in there, and I think Tony Todd is brilliant.
Yeah, he's great.
Well, look, this is a film that's so great, and the ending is so powerful. Now, I've mentioned to you, I hate it when you're watching a film and it's really good, and when the ending just sucks, it can wreck the whole film for you.
Sure.
My WTF ending, next one, is from 2004 called The Village from M. Night Shyamalan. And look, for people go, oh, M. Night Shyamalan. Guys, look. After Sixth Sense, I was a fan. I wanted to root for this guy. And here you get this film. The film starts out, it looks like it's in not necessarily pilgrim days, but in days where it's like those types of people in this village.
It's like an isolated community.
Yes.
It's like Amish.
But it's, imagine, to me, when I saw the film, when it started and the way people were dressed and how they acted, I looked at it as this is taking place in 17 something or 18 something, and these are people who, to practice a religion, they have gone way deep into the forest, and that's where this strange creature, that terrorizes this town. Oh my God, I loved it. And there's this blind girl. It's like, what? The blind girl's going to go off with these guys to try and solve the problem? It's like, are you insane? And it's Bryce Dallas Howard, and this is like her first big role, and she's beautiful in it, and I thought she was great. All the people are great in the film, but you get to this point where she climbs over this wall and you find out this town is actually present day, how the townspeople are actually wealthy people who pay to be secluded from, and you have M. Night Shyamalan, who plays a character explaining it. And I remember, are you fucking kidding me? I was so mad. I was so angry. It's like, this is not a Sixth Sense twist. What I wanted was, I thought it would be cool if it was someone else in the town that is terrorizing everybody, or like some other tribe or something. No, you make it take place in the future. I was so mad. And not only was it me, the entire audience, it was a packed theater. When Shyamalan is explaining this, oh, don't you know these people? The whole crowd went, oh, you could hear it. And I was groaning. The whole audience was groaning. I've never been so mad at a film. And it was that film when I saw it, I went, oh, fuck this, man. I'm done with it.
Well, would you say too that on paper, maybe as a Twilight Zone,
as a half hour, as a 25 minute.
25 minute?
Yeah.
Yes, Sean.
That might work. Might work.
Many of his movies should have been that.
But to lure you along this entire time, and then to have this, Mr. Exposition come in.
Look, I like exposition. When the doctor is explaining in Psycho, who Norman Bates is, to me, it's like there's these answers and questions. It seemed logical, but that throwaway dialogue that
I think, you know what, too? I think, you know, The Sixth Sense, I think, is a great film.
Great.
But that twist is kind of a theme or whatever that is thread throughout the movie. Like, it makes sense. It just works beautifully. I think it's really clever and still works really well. I think, like, after that movie, it seemed like several of M. Night Shyamalan's films from that after The Sixth Sense, like, he started with the twist.
Yeah.
He like wrote down this idea for a twist. Like, wow, if I can work retroactively and make the movie work. And the thing is, though, what he is really good at is creepiness and foreboding and dread. When he does it well, he does it very well. And I thought The Village was really intriguing up until the ending.
Yes.
I thought it was pretty like, okay, where's this? It was keeping my interest. And I was intrigued.
Yeah.
And so he's better at that, at building up and building the dread than it is his storytelling. I would say even though I liked this movie, I didn't really care for the ending, which was before he did The Village, he did Unbreakable.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Unbreakable,
Good.
I also
like
thought was really intriguing. I love the idea of like the existence, like a guy, if he finds out he really is a superhero. But that ending, I thought, I didn't think he knew where to go with it. I knew basically it ends with
Samuel L. Jackson.
Samuel L. Jackson saying, "Oh, all these accidents and all these things that have happened, I've been causing them because I'm trying to bring out the superheroes to save people from these horrible things I'm causing." Like, what? Yeah. Like he want my destiny is to become a super villain, so that's why I'm doing it, so I can find superheroes. Yeah. What the fuck? Like, and it ends very abruptly, but it's not a very satisfying ending. But the rest of the movie I liked. No, I'm saying is that that's the start of it, where you see.
No, I agree,
because like that came right after Sixth Sense, a year after.
Yes.
And then you had The Village, then you had The Happening, then you had what's the
Signs.
one with the Signs. Like,
oh my God.
so god
It's also on my list, by the way.
No, that's terrible too.
But there's things like built around this one central twist, and like, but the rest of the movie to build to that, it doesn't work. Like, he's just
Who
it's
made
kind of
him
like
the twist guy?
Well,
Who made him the twist guy?
It's like the band The Knack.
The
Knack came out with Get the Knack.
Right.
And everybody loved it.
That's right. Yeah.
And all those songs were, nice and poppy and fun and very catchy. And they did Get the Knack, and then they had to do a second album.
Yeah,
They basically made Get the Knack again.
Yeah.
Right.
And then it wasn't quite so fresh.
No. And it went away.
Yeah.
And I think because they also, people like studios and executives left him alone because The Sixth Sense was such a huge hit.
Right.
You're like, oh my God, this guy's gold. Leave him alone to do whatever you want. Let him make Lady in the Lake. Let him make Signs. Like, oh, holy fuck, man. What do we do?
I've never been. Yeah, I didn't care for The Village, but Signs was a different kind of anger and frustration. Because there was there was, at least with The Village, there's a part of it where there's a build where you were describing.
Yeah, I thought it was really neat.
Yeah, and then,
really neat.
But with Signs, it's a mess from the beginning to the end. Like,
that's
it's
true.
Just terrible.
There are some elements in Signs that I like, but the whole ending.
There's a couple shots that I think are creepy.
Aliens in water. Whoa. I mean, really? Really?
It's just, and then I love that at the end you get to, you have to watch the movie again because he's going through the flashback of all the things that we're supposed to put together. And he's like, oh, fuck, do I got to watch this whole movie again?
Yeah.
No, it's terrible.
Well, anyway, The Village. 2004.
Yeah, when you think about that filmmaker, he's kind of like the master of WTF endings.
True.
I mean, pretty much. But
that's true.
Sometimes, occasionally it works, but a lot of times it does not.
Most of the time it doesn't work.
Yeah.
I had that on my list, by the way.
So did I. I had The Village on my list. And
how
did you not?
Great minds. James, did you have it on your list?
I actually had The Sixth Sense on my list, but how could I not?
Right.
Well, that was, I guess, more of a positive one.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Yeah, because I think we all like that movie, right?
I think that movie holds up really well. I think it's
loved
great.
it.
Well, I think another interesting thing about The Sixth Sense is that it also started a kind of a subgenre of movies with characters who you thought were real but weren't really there, like in Fight Club or in Beautiful Mind, which is kind of interesting.
That's true. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, and it's funny. I saw that when it first came out. I saw that with Patton Oswalt.
Oh yeah.
And after I watched the film, everybody in the world said, "Oh, I saw that ending coming." And Patton, I think we can all agree, is a very intelligent person. He's also a guy who watches a lot of movies, and I would think he's kind of a film scholar. And neither of us saw that coming.
Neither did I. Yeah,
I didn't see it coming.
Yeah, I didn't see it coming.
Yeah, it's very well structured. It was just done well.
Yeah, I think that's a little bit of bullshit. That's my. I mean, I'm sure that there were some people that genuinely did see it coming, but
yeah, like if you made that movie now, people would see that coming.
Right.
But that's the thing. Yeah. It's like back then it was kind of fresh.
And dare I say, I think I would argue that if you saw it coming, you're not fully immersed in the movie, but that's just my opinion.
yeah, maybe.
All right, here's a what the fuck ending that I know Shawn Sheridan will agree with.
Okay.
And it is the ending of the Larry Cohen film God Told Me To.
Oh, yes.
1976. Now, which of you gentlemen have seen this film? I know Shawn has seen it, obviously.
I have not.
What is wrong with you? Why don't you guys go out and watch some movies?
Okay,
go in and watch some movies.
One of Larry Cohen's most celebrated films you should watch.
Yeah.
He doesn't have that many movies he made.
So come on.
It's a genuinely interesting, good, original movie.
Batshit crazy, fantastic movie.
Yeah.
Well, look, some people here haven't seen everything, okay? Like many of our listeners. So perhaps you could educate us or enlighten us with your knowledge of the ending of this film.
Well,
Spoil away.
Okay, so you got Tony LoBianco as a devout Catholic NYPD detective. And there are these murders being committed. And each time he comes into contact with one of the murderers, they say, God told them to kill.
It's happening like all over.
It's happening all over. And he's doing this investigation, and it leads him to this guy, Bernard Phillips, who is played by Richard Lynch, who is like this cult leader.
Yeah, kind of like a guru.
Yeah. Cut to the chase. It is revealed that Bernard Phillips is actually an alien offspring that resulted from a virgin birth that was caused by these extraterrestrials. And that LoBianco is also one of these offspring.
He doesn't know it.
But he doesn't know it. But the difference between him and Bernard Phillips is that Bernard Phillips is a hermaphrodite, an alien hermaphrodite. And so the plan is that he wants to mate with his brother, Tony LoBianco, and create a whole new alien species on the Earth. Well, as you might think, Tony LoBianco doesn't really want to have anything to do with this. Like, hey, it's flattering, but I'm cool. I'm good.
Right.
So LoBianco attacks Phillips, and Phillips uses his powers, and it ends up destroying this building that they're in.
Yeah.
And he, I guess, commits suicide. What happens after that is that LoBianco, whose character's name is Peter Nicholas, ends up being charged for the crime of killing this guy.
Right.
And when they ask him, why'd you do it? He says, God told me to.
Yeah.
But the reveal that this guy that they've been chasing is this alien hermaphrodite who wants to have sex with Tony LoBianco. I did not see that coming.
Yeah. It's a weird, it's a weird, creepy movie, though.
Let's make it, and make aliens.
Yeah, I mean, especially like of all the hermaphrodites that you want to have sex with, Richard Lynch, for me,
an alien Richard Lynch.
Yeah, it wouldn't be on the top.
Yeah,
but it's so crazy, and I remember seeing this for the first time, and it's one of those movies that I think I tried to watch a couple times and liked it, but for whatever reason, I didn't get to the end. And then when I finally watched the whole thing all the way through, and it gets to that, I was so taken back that I just went, this is either the worst movie I've ever seen or it's genius.
Yeah.
And it's
good.
I think it's great. Each time I watch it, it's almost like I'm watching it for the first time because
yeah.
how he threads that needle how Cohen threads that needle of making this all work and not making that end part silly. Because I, at least personally, I don't find it silly at the end. I find it fucking balls out weird.
No, it's crazy. It's just like, what the? Yeah, that's what it is. It's just so weird. Yeah, I like it.
And again, I did not see this third act coming at all.
Yeah. That's a good one.
Wow.
Yeah, it's really good. And Tony LoBianco is brilliant, I think.
He's great. He's always good.
And you've got a very early film appearance by Andy Kaufman.
Wow.
That's right.
So that one's lovely.
Cool. I will check that out.
As will I. It's on my list.
Okay, well, Matt, if you're talking crazy, weird, what the fuck endings,
Bring it.
really crazy, weird, what the fuck movie, period, look no further than 1980s Menachem Golan directed The Apple.
Oh.
The Apple is
True.
The Apple is a truly insane rock fantasy. This is made in
Rock
1980.
disco.
It's
Disco
a
rock
musical
fantasy nightmare. Made in 1980, takes place in the futuristic world of 1994.
Oh.
And basically, there's this
We
kind of
long for that time.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's a timeless tale of good versus evil. It takes place in the music business. There's like this World Vision Song Festival, and these two very innocent brother and sister, BB and Alfie, are these two hopefuls who are in the World Vision Song Contest. But the world of rock music and the whole kind of industry is pretty much dominated by this Mr. Boogaloo, who is played by Vladek Shabal, who Matt,
He does good work.
He's a character actor who was lost stuff. Matt and I probably know him best from he's the doctor in UFO. He's the in-house shadow doctor.
Yeah, he's a creepy looking guy.
A creepy guy. And basically he's like the devil. And BB and Alfie are two innocents who are seduced by the devil to sign a contract to be big rock stars. And so it's all about the temptation, their fall from grace. BB becomes a huge hit, and Alfie kind of gets tossed aside. And there's this other band that's under the control of Mr. Boogaloo. The group is called the BIM, and they're these crazy disco rock bands, and music is crazy, and it's just an insane,
It's a fun movie.
fever dream, insane movie. But
And the end I did not see coming.
the ending is even more insane because without really any setup to this, at the end, it looks like Mr. Boogaloo is going to, get to Alfie and BB, and the world's going to end and be controlled by the devil. And then suddenly, basically, God appears in a Rolls Royce in the sky. He's dressed all in white. They
Yep.
call him. He's known as Mr. Tops. He's played by this actor named Josh Ackland. Great, presence of an actor, British actor. He has a great voice, but he's Mr. Tops, and he kind of comes down, and all the characters who are put upon and controlled or dominated by Mr. Boogaloo, or they're all kind of hippies at this point. It's like this hippie commune, and they follow Mr. Tops up to heaven in the Rolls Royce and drive off. I mean, it's basically kind of like suggesting that this world wasn't even Earth necessarily. This was a battle of good and evil. This is like a test. This is like a trial run of God versus Satan on this planet. And now they're going to go off to Earth or something.
Oh, okay.
Kind of. That's kind of what it is.
That's interesting.
But it is nuts. It is a crazy movie. It's like a kind of midnight movie, but it's really insane. It's worth watching though. It's really fun. And it's definitely an ending you do not see coming.
For listeners who are not familiar, this was a film I had never heard of. I totally missed this. And Sean said, Larry, you've got to see this film. And Sean had a private screening at his house. And
Private screening.
Well, not a private. It was a party. It was a party.
Yeah,
Party.
it was an Apple party.
It was an Apple party. And because we had Apple TV.
Why do you got to make everything exclusionary?
You're right, because this is the new leaf. This is the new year.
Okay, all right, okay.
Party with lots of people. And I had never seen this film before. And from the beginning, I mean, Sean, there had to be some money spent on this.
Oh yeah, it was.
I mean,
it was kind of an infamous because A lot of money was spent, but it was a huge bomb. It's
Huge
now
bomb.
become like this cult midnight movie.
I'm sure many listeners might remember, when the Bee Gees were really big and disco was big, and the Bee Gees did that Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band movie.
Oh,
And there was
there's a lot of these weird big
these
budget.
big
Can't
budget
can't stop the music. All
Yes.
these crazy.
Right.
Yes,
And,
the Apple is just wild and bizarre, and then you're right, Sean. When you get to the ending, I'm like, what the hell is this?
Yeah,
But
pretty crazy.
it's so out there. I mean, I did enjoy it,
It's a good kind of party movie. It's a good movie with a crowd.
which is why you had it at your house in a party atmosphere.
Right.
And I sat there and I watched. I wasn't one of these people that was like talking and stuff. I wanted to hear every word.
Yeah.
On
No,
that,
it's worth seeing,
I
though.
thoroughly enjoyed it.
That's basically the whole movie is a WTF, really.
yeah.
Hey, Sean, on OSI 74, which thank you so much.
Did you check it out?
Oh, yeah. Oh, man.
Isn't that great?
I think
crazy,
it's a great channel. And the first thing I watched, which I hadn't seen in years, was a movie called Get Crazy.
Get Crazy.
From the 80s?
Yeah. And it's with Daniel Stern and Lee Ving from Fear is in it. And it's all about this New Year's Eve show that this theater is going to do. And there's a rival concert promoter played by Ed Begley Jr. And there's so many people in this movie. First of all, I think it would be a great double feature with the Apple. But you've got Howard Kalin from the Turtles is in it. You've got Laurie Eastside from Kid Creole and the Coconuts. I don't know if you remember them.
Sure.
Yeah. Lou Reed is in this movie.
That's right. It's Alan Arkish who directed
who did Rock and Roll High School. Yeah. Malcolm McDowell.
Oh my God.
It's like a Mick Jagger kind of glam rocker dude.
Wow.
And his drummer is named Toad, played by John Densmore of The Doors.
Wow.
Whoa.
It's amazing how many people are in this.
Oh my God,
thing.
I'm looking at the cast. Stacey Nelkin is in it.
Yes.
Ooh.
Wow. I gotta check it out.
Bobby Sherman and Fabian.
Wow, Robert Picardo is in it.
Yes.
Wow.
Wow. Okay.
I hadn't seen this thing in ages, and it's a lot better than I remember it being the first time.
Cool.
I would not say it has a what the fuck ending,
right?
but it's pretty fun. So that's a good one for the double feature.
Awesome.
Well, this has been loads of fun.
Yes, it has.
It really has.
WTF fun.
Well, look, I know we can probably go on and on, but what do you say we do like a little lightning round? Just a couple issues with some of these movies and movie endings.
Go, James.
There are some obvious titles that I just have to mention. There's a whole slew of like, okay, the world is fucked. It's the end. Clearly, Beneath the Planet of the Apes.
Yes,
like, that's it. Boom. Over.
Well, the first Planet of the Apes for the time was a total WTF. And
nobody saw that coming, I don't think.
Right.
Although, I mean, everyone's speaking English. It's like, well, this might be Earth. I don't know.
Well, that's true. Yeah.
No, English is universal across the entire universe. Did you know that?
Oh, okay.
Come on.
I think somehow, like for me as a kid, at least, I remember being sucked into, that's how else are they going to get this movie across if they don't speak English?
Yeah.
But I did not expect that. But no, Beneath, my God, that fucked me up forever.
Yep.
It's over. It's just over until the apes drag out the Icarus and get back to Earth.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
And then Halloween 3, where, okay, it's done. Tom Atkins cannot save the world. It's over.
Yeah, that's true.
Terrible.
Soylent Green. How to bring in Soylent Green.
Soylent Green, of course.
Right?
Yeah.
That's a great ending.
And
yes.
And on a different note, 1969, on Her Majesty's Secret Service, the only movie.
Sure.
Good choice.
James Bond gets married to Diana Rigg, and she is right after their wedding or on their honeymoon.
Yeah.
She gets shot by Blofeld's henchwoman. The most downbeat ending by far of any Bond film.
Yeah, totally.
Although the Casino Royale later on comes close. But they go through all of these death-defying adventures together, and they actually fall in love, and you're actually more emotionally invested than you've ever been or would be in a James Bond film. And then, boom, well, that's it. So
and it's Diana Rigg, too, man.
All right.
Yeah.
Nice one, James. Nice one. Okay, really quickly. For 3, look, this ending I absolutely hated. We're talking from 2001, Tim Burton's Planet of the Apes. I'm not going to say that the movie is
Yep.
good.
Yeah.
I was so frustrated with the film, but when you got to the ending, you have Mark Wahlberg, who basically plays the Charlton Heston character. You get all the way to the end where he gets a spaceship, he goes back to Earth, and he lands. He's at the Lincoln Memorial, and he gets out and he sees, oh my gosh, the Lincoln statue, it has an ape head, and these cops pull up and they're all wearing ape faces. I was so angry. I was so mad.
It's kind of like, I got the feeling that they had a bunch of writers just jot down a bunch of ideas on a slip of paper. What's the cool visual we'll show? And they just grab one.
They didn't. Yeah, they didn't know. You know what they did? They pulled out an idea out of a skull. That's what they did.
Yeah, that's pretty much.
Really good. Okay.
Nobody liked that ending.
Okay.
They
now,
wish.
Now, look, maybe I'm going to piss some people off here, but I did have an issue. I'm talking about the original release from 1983, Richard Marquand, director, Return of the Jedi. Yes, it ties up all the loose ends, happy, but it was like really the Ewoks dancing, and you didn't get that feel, that sense of throughout the galaxy, everyone has been saved. It was so frustrating. And so what does Lucas do? Well, heck, when we do a new version, I'll put in all this other stuff. Still, it was really frustrating. That was an ending where I was like, WTF. But my last one, and I know I'm going out on a limb here. It still bugs me, from 1974, the end of the Tobe Hooper classic, Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Yes, I get that the girl escapes. I get that. She escapes in the truck and she goes off and she's freaking out. And you've got Leatherface running around with his chainsaw. But it's like, well, what happened, people? What happened? Did they go to the cops? Did the cops come?
You hate horror.
No.
Larry, why don't you just watch Texas Chainsaw 2 it'll put you a little bit more at ease.
Yeah, it's lighthearted.
You see where the characters go, though.
The title of this episode is WTF Endings, and that's an ending where I'm like, I was so angry, I was so upset. So there's 3 for you.
All right. Well, this one I have to mention because it's one we've talked about before, but I have to just throw it out there because you brought up Jedi.
I did.
And that is Empire Strikes Back.
Yes, my list.
The ending that's not an ending. It's a movie that should end, and you could have made it end with having the attack on Jabba's place be a big thing, and that would have been a great ending. Hopefully. And I feel like under that director, that whole
much
production
better.
would have been a better way to resolve that whole story.
He's a much better director.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so there's that one. And I know that people will disagree with me, but I remember when that thing ended, I was like, I believe I literally said, what the fuck?
But I knew it was a chapter. I knew, because it's the second one. You knew a third one was coming.
It did make me want to see the next one and be excited about seeing the next one.
Yeah, I think it's mainly because when the first one came out, it wasn't called Chapter 4. It was a standalone movie.
Yes.
When that was such a huge hit, it's okay, now I'll really do this as like a big budget multi-chapter Flash Gordon serial. So Empire Strikes Back comes out as 5, and then like every serial, you ended on a cliffhanger. So, but I can see at the time how that took people by surprise, because the original Star Wars has a very satisfying ending.
Yep.
Yeah, and I was having such a good time up until that point.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
The next one I want to go to is a great what the fuck ending, and that's Akira, the animated classic.
Wow.
Yeah.
1988. And this story involves people with psychokinetic powers who are trying to escape from a government laboratory. One of these characters comes into contact with a boy named Tetsuo, and his friend Kaneda is trying to figure out what's happening to Tetsuo. And Tetsuo is gradually becoming this powerful psychic force, and he has these psychokinetic powers that make him go a little power mad, and then he becomes really unstable and starts to
can't control it.
Yeah, he can't control his powers, so now he is turning into this blob It's like sucking in matter, and it's so great to see. But there is another character who, in the very beginning of the story, we find that Tokyo has been destroyed by this boy named Akira, who had similar powers.
Right.
And that a singularity created by Akira destroyed Tokyo. Well, they rebuilt Tokyo, and now it's Neo Tokyo. And at the end of Akira himself shows up again and kind of saves the day by taking Tetsuo and putting him in this singularity and whisking him to this alternate dimension where he can do no harm. And Tetsuo ends up creating a new Big Bang in this alternate dimension. How's that for a what the fuck ending?
Do you remember the last line? Do you remember his last line?
What's the last line again?
His last line is "I am Tuatsu," and it's almost like it's like he's God.
He is the word.
It was so powerful, and the visuals at that moment are so striking.
Yeah.
That was a WTF ending. I did not expect it, and I just thought it was great.
I love
it. My favorite anime.
Yeah,
that world it creates, even though it's cell animation, it's anime, but that futuristic Blade Runner type neon world is so awesome.
Still holds up.
Yeah.
I read the manga, which I enjoyed, but I think I kind of prefer this ending just because it feels like it's a little less convoluted. But I like both.
Right.
And then last but not least, The Prisoner. The final two episodes of the British 1967 show, The Prisoner.
Definitely WTF.
If you want to watch a what the fuck resolution to a series, The Prisoner, we've discussed it before, but it's Patrick McGowan as this secret agent who quits, and then he is kidnapped and finds himself in this place called the Village. And the Village is basically a prison that's keeping all these other spies, or who knows what other occupations these people in the Village had previous to their time there.
Right.
But he's always trying to escape the Village, and they've given him the name of Number 6. And he is always rejecting this idea that he's not a number, he's a free man. And so there's this theme of individualism against collectivism.
Right.
And most of the episodes up until the last two, they have an avant-garde quality to them, but they're still pretty much rooted in reality somewhat.
Yeah.
Well, the last two just go crazy.
But in a good way. And I find it very satisfying.
Well, the first time I saw it, I don't think that I enjoyed it as much. Now I've grown to appreciate it.
Yeah.
It starts with Number 6 being given this treatment called Degree Absolute. And it's the final attempt to break Number 6.
Right.
And learn why he resigned.
Wait, because it's number 2, the main number 2.
Yeah, the number 2, which is, there's a different number 2 in every episode that comes in and tries to break him. Well, this is one from an earlier episode from the Chimes of Big Ben. It's Leo McKern. He's great. Yeah. And he comes back and he's trying to break him by like regressing him. Yeah. And it eventually backfires, and Number 2 ends up dying or being defeated. And the final episode, Number 2 is brought back somehow.
Right.
And there's another guy who is Number 48, and he's like this delinquent type guy who's young and brash and
scrappy.
He's scrappy and, he represents a different kind of rebellion. And so each person, Number 2 and Number 48 and Number 6, they're all these different facets of rebellion. And there's a kind of a trial that takes place, and it leads to them eventually being able to escape the Village. And they're just dropped off back in London.
The middle of London. Yeah.
Middle of London. Like literally, like they just hop off a truck and now they're back in London, and everybody kind of goes their own separate ways. But the road that you go on to get to that place is so strange. And like I said, when I first watched it, I don't know if I cared for it that much, but I've grown to appreciate it. So that's a crazy one. And that's my last one.
All right. Well, I'll throw out a few here real quick. I know we've talked about this before, but this movie to me, I think with the ending they kind of were trying to go for like a 2001 approach, and it doesn't really work. And that would be the black hole.
Well, yes.
The whole build up to go finally travel through the black hole. It's kind of like this phantasmagoric experience. It's like heaven and hell, and it's crazy and weird, but it's not really satisfying, and it's like, it's just basically a completely theoretical, made up idea of what might happen if you go through a black hole, And
it becomes like religious allegory.
Yeah, it's really weird. So don't care much for that. Another movie that we have talked about before, so I'm not going to talk about a long time, but this is one that is kind of like a not very satisfying ending. I know, Larry, you agree with me on that. That would be from 1987, Angel Heart. You finally find out, oh my God, I'm the killer myself. I've been doing it all this time. Now you're going to hell, and you take an elevator, and then credits roll.
Did anybody see that coming though? Because I actually did see that.
No, that one, yes, I did actually. I think I remember seeing the first time in the theater. I'm like, wait a minute, is it going to be him the whole time doing this? But I still like the movie though. But the ending left me kind of wanting.
I was waiting for that elevator to open up and fire or hell,
or like a
devil would turn.
Demon creature.
Well, plus that slow motion close up of the baby with the eyes. It's like, what the heck?
Yeah, it was weird. Yeah.
Anyway.
And I wasn't the only one who felt that way. I was, again, packed house, and everyone just went, ah!
Another movie that we've definitely talked about with the ending, but you got to admit, it's a WTF ending. That's from 1981, Happy Birthday to Me.
True. Yes.
Melissa Sue Gilbert, is the killer. Although, because basically you think it's just one person and they tear off a mask and it's somebody else. James, you did say though at one point that, and I think that's interesting, I always thought there's no way I'm supposed to believe that it's this one character who's wearing a Melissa Sue Gilbert mask the whole time doing this. But then, James, you pointed out, I think they changed the ending, or they did something last minute with the ending, with that idea. So I think maybe some of the previous scenes weren't necessarily shot with the idea
with that in mind.
Yes.
Right.
So that kind of explains a little bit. I would like to also throw out Jacob's Ladder from 1990.
Oh yeah.
Jacob's Ladder is good. I really like that movie. It does have an ending that maybe is not completely like original. Like you kind of in a way maybe see it coming.
True.
But if you look back at the old episode of Twilight Zone called Occurrence at Owl Creek Bridge, thematically there's a similarity to Jacob's Ladder. This is a case where I won't give it away, but it's a good movie, and it has a very abrupt and very startling, shocking ending.
Even though, you could say that's kind of a trope, it's still a good movie.
Yeah. I have to throw out there, Matt, I know you'll agree with me on this one, 1978, The Evil.
Yeah. It's like on the double feature with the Beyond.
Yeah. We've talked about this before. It's a haunted house movie. Richard Crenna, Andrew Prine, a bunch of people trying to investigate this so-called haunted house. They get trapped in the house, supernatural stuff going on, and ends up, the ending is Richard Crenna in the basement facing off with literally the devil himself in this kind of like
light room.
Which you think would be like heaven, like in a cloudy kind of heaven, but no, it's hell, and it's Victor Bono with horns as the devil. Cool. I mean, it's fantastic. I love it.
I heard that scene was added. Like, yes, it wasn't originally meant to end that way, but I'm happy that they added that because I love that scene. Yeah.
And just finally, I want to say the Friday the 13th franchise. 3 of the films have WTF endings, and 2 of which I like, 1 of which I don't. The first movie, you have to admit, is a great WTF ending.
Yes.
And that ending also, you can't interpret it as, oh, it was just her imagining it, because there's a billion sequels with Jason, right? But that ending firmly puts the movie in supernatural territory.
Yeah.
Because Jason is literally an undead zombie who has just been waiting underwater for years and years, right? I mean, that makes it supernatural. Whereas up to that point, the movie is not a supernatural film. And Friday the 13th Part 3 has a rather nonsensical, similar ending where it's not the corpse of Jason who pops out of the water, it's the corpse of Jason's mom, who had already been decapitated, and Jason had her head somewhere else he was saving. So was that
It
just a
doesn't
dream?
matter.
Doesn't matter.
No, they're very good swimmers.
They're just, yeah. but the most ridiculous, and I've said this one before, is Friday the 13th, Part 8, Jason Takes Manhattan. The final girl and the guy, whatever, being chased by Jason in the sewers. There's some kind of toxic spill, as well as like sewage water that he gets engulfed in. And somehow it turns him into a little boy again. Which makes no sense. But
it's New York.
Yeah, it's New York. It's New York. It's Friday the 13th.
Things happen.
Just go
with it.
That's definitely a WTF ending. So,
wow, I forgot about that one.
Yeah,
that's great.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Nice
I love
one,
it,
Sean. Nice.
Very good.
Yeah.
Well, this has been fun, right?
Yeah, let me go. We could definitely do another one of these.
Yes, we could.
Yeah.
We could. I actually still have more on my list.
Oh,
so
yeah, I'm sure.
We definitely can do this again. James, good suggestion, sir.
Yeah,
this is this is my New Year's resolution. Every topic of 2021 will be mine.
Oh.
All right.
Okay,
Hey.
all right.
Wow.
All right.
So we
do
look
it.
forward,
The new
we look
James
forward to
GONIS.
best and worst Robert Altman films. Why I hate The Mist so much.
That's the next one. Yeah.
Okay.
Soundtracks again.
Interiors versus sleeper.
Ooh, good one. Let me write these down.
All right.
All right. Well, I would like to give all of us a toast
Yes.
for
Yes.
continuing to do this in 2021.
Yeah, surviving 2020.
Yes.
Continuing to do.
Yeah.
Regardless of all the shit that happened in 2020, we still put
We're
out our
still going strong.
That's
And
right.
if you're listening to us, that means you survived too.
Yes.
We've got a great year in store for you, so keep listening.
Yes.
Yeah.
A toast to our listeners.
All right.
Cheers.
Cheers. Time for a listener shout out.
Shout out.
Oh, New Year shout out.
This goes out to even more Monster Party listeners who have purchased the Monster Party mask.
Yay.
Cool.
PPE mask from our eBay store.
Petrifying protection.
Yes. Including Mark Freisner of Defiance, Ohio. Who purchased
Yay.
two.
Nice.
Scott Porter of Fallbrook, California.
Cool.
Scott.
Yeah.
Our previous guest, Steve Banos of Burbank, California.
All right.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you,
Thanos.
Steve.
Thank you, Steve. Look forward to having Steve on again sometime.
Yes.
Yeah,
definitely.
Our good friend Matt Takota from Omaha, Nebraska, who
All
also
right.
purchased
The
two.
Dakota family. Lovely people.
Mhm. And Angela Stroth of Woodland Hills, California.
I'm not familiar.
Oh. And she works in the medical field, so she's going to be wearing those masks,
Yeah, that's great.
delivering babies and stuff.
That was her doctor smock or lab coat thing that I had, right? From
That's
her?
correct, sir. Yes.
Yeah, I want to do a shout out to her and thank her because she lent me her lab coat for an audition that I had.
That's right. Angela,
Oh, nice.
thank you. That was
Yeah, so
awesome.
thank you very much. And thank you so much for buying a mask.
And
Yeah.
also, James, our longtime listener, Jim Jenkins, also purchased masks as
Jim!
well.
Jim. Thank you, Jim.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jim. Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Always a big supporter of us.
Yes.
Yeah,
No, he's the
San
greatest.
Diego, California.
Yeah.
You
Yes.
rock, Jim.
And I would like to give a shout out, a longtime friend of the show, Tom Frank. And he has this wonderful show called Sketch Fighter that I did at, I think it was Kamikaze. But he's great. And his daughter is this amazing artist, Miranda Frank.
Oh, yeah.
And so Tom sent me a Christmas card, but with the Christmas card, he gave me Miranda's art book called Smaugust. Smaug? That's how you pronounce that? Is that how you pronounce the
Smaug,
dragon's
yes.
name? Smaug.
Yes.
Yes. From The Hobbit. Hello.
Yes, from The Hobbit. Smaugust. And this is a art book that she did.
Oh,
and it's got
my
all her
God.
artwork, and we'll put
Wow.
some pictures of this
Cool.
online
Oh, that's
after we post the
beautiful.
episode. But just some great stuff.
Oh,
Wonderful
that's
artwork
awesome.
of all these dragons,
Oh, those are
and
so cool.
really lovely.
That's so
And
cool.
I wanted to thank Miranda so much.
Miranda, it's so beautiful.
Yeah, you're awesome.
Nice
Very
job.
talented.
Great
Yeah.
work.
Yeah.
And you can follow Miranda on Instagram at MirandaFrank4.
Cool.
Oh,
Yeah.
Cool.
But thank you, Miranda. Thank you, Tom. And
You guys are
man,
awesome.
I can't wait to see everyone who we just mentioned. I can't wait to
I
see all
know.
of you in
I know.
person. I really look forward to that day.
I know.
And I hope it's coming soon.
Yeah. We have to have like a little monster party homecoming or something.
I know, right? We should
You know, like,
throw a real life rager.
yeah, really.
Although I have to say, our holiday party, our holiday bash,
last episode.
that was a
Yeah.
lot of
with
fun.
Mark
That
Jetta,
was
that
fun.
was.
That was
And
about-
Great.
Just to let you know, I had comments from my brothers and sisters on Zoom that listen to the show, and they go, "Gosh, Sean is so giggly."
Party.
Yeah.
My sister
do
says,
get-
"You know, I like Sean when he's like that." I
Me
go,
too.
"Oh, pass it
Me
along."
too.
I do get a little extra giggly when under
But
the
I like that.
control of
It
certain
means you're having a good
substances.
time.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, it does.
I had a really good time. That's about as close, I think, as anyone could get to staging a real party.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
It was fun.
Yeah, that was fantastic.
Should do that
And
every episode.
Mark was wonderful.
I agree.
He's always great. I
He's
love
always
Mark
great.
Bennett.
And I would like to mention too, if you haven't, I know we've posted it on social media since, but if you haven't seen it, check out that thing on YouTube where he takes the dialogue from the original Planet of the Apes and does this whole scene where it's a confrontation between Zeus and Cornelius in the
Yeah.
cave with the talking doll.
It's
and he does
terrific.
it with action figures. He uses the soundtrack.
Yeah, it's great.
It's
It's great.
funny.
Yeah.
Well, if I may, I'd like to take a moment and mention a couple of books that were not out in time for our Monster Party gift guide.
Ah,
In the past, I've championed a couple of books by a writer named Mark Voger. The first one was called Monster Mash, and the second one was called Groovy, which is about 60s music
Oh,
and
yeah.
pop culture.
Oh, okay.
Monster Mash I have. Yeah, it's great.
These books are beautiful. They're distributed by the makers, the publishers of Retro Fan magazine, and they're all
Right,
full
right.
of color pages. Well, I was surprised just a few weeks ago to find out that Voger has written yet another book, and this one is called Holly Jolly, and it's all about Christmas pop culture.
Oh, okay.
No.
Cool.
This is a book that I myself would have been longing to write, but it's all
Right.
about. It's all about.
So it's
it's
like
got
Christmas
every category.
ephemera and
Oh,
Christmas
okay.
ephemera. It goes into the origins, but also children's books, World War II stuff, decorations,
Huh.
comic books, comic strips, movies, records, TV shows, variety
that's
shows.
cool.
It's wonderful, and
That's
I
cool.
highly recommend it to anybody who's a geek for Christmas pop culture like I am.
Cool.
And then
Just in time for next Christmas.
yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
indeed. Yes, indeed. And the second book I want to recommend or plug is called Stephen King, Dollar Baby, the book by Anthony Northrup. And it's a series of interviews by independent amateur filmmakers who have done Stephen King short story movies,
Ah.
including yours truly.
You're in
I
it?
was interviewed for the book.
Oh.
It is.
That's cool.
It's up on Amazon right now for pre-order, and it's going to be released January 17th. Again, it's called Stephen King, Dollar Baby, the book. If anybody who's interested in these little scene films, usually based on King short stories,
Right.
it's worth checking
I
out.
want this.
I
That's
do.
cool.
I want.
You
this
got to
too.
sign one for me.
Yeah, will you sign one
Yeah.
for me?
Of course, for a small fee.
Sure.
Guy's got to make a living. I understand.
It's the new James.
That's cool.
Mirror Universe, James.
Oh,
Ooh,
grow
trick
beard.
reference. Trick, I like it.
See?
That Blu-ray set is rubbing off on them already.
And as previously mentioned, our Monster Party cloth protective masks are available on our eBay store, which is Monster Party Store. We still have them in supply for the very reasonable price of $8, including shipping.
Yep.
It includes shipping. That's crazy.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we still
And-
have T-shirts too, right?
Still have t-shirts in various sizes with a classic Monster Party logo that glows in the dark.
Glows.
And
Spooky.
shipping also still included. So get them while they last.
Still included. We don't even know why.
It's
Obviously, we're just insane.
We're insane. You can't beat these prices.
Crazy Eddie. I remember the Crazy Eddie commercials.
Yeah, me too.
I grew up
Me
on the East
too.
Coast, man.
Yeah, me
It's
too.
Christmas in January. And not only do we have merch for you, but if you are part of the Patreon family that we have created, you will get with your merch order prizes. Things from Biff Bang Pow Toys and Jason Lindsay. And we'll throw in some nice little items with your order, and you'll get it, and you'll open the box and go, oh, I got this lovely merch, but oh, look at this thing. I didn't expect this thing. Look, honey, look what I got. Kids, gather around. That's what'll happen in your home.
Right.
Well,
Don't you want that to happen?
But I mean, what does it cost to join? Is it expensive?
You know what? I'm glad you asked that question, Larry. It's only $5 a month.
$5.
And $5 a month will not only buy you these extra perks when you get your merch, but you will get bonus audio, bonus video, pictures, and whatever other nonsense that we can come up with. And we're always trying to come up with something new.
And it's special stuff that doesn't go out to the general public.
Only
just for
to
you guys.
Only the Patreon Monster Partiers. So join, and join again.
Yes.
And you're helping us out. You're supporting.
Yes, you are. And that's one of those things. It's like, yes, we want to give back, but we can't tell you how much we appreciate when you join Patreon, because it really does help us keep this thing going.
Yeah,
for sure. And hey, let's also remind our listeners that you can find us on Facebook and on YouTube at Monster Party TV. Our Twitter handle is at Monster Party HQ. Instagram is also Monster Party HQ. And please take a moment and write a review on whatever platform you're listening to us on. We would love to hear from you, and we will read it on the air.
We will.
Damn straight.
Boy, howdy. On that note, I am Matt Weinhold.
I'm SHAWN Sheridan.
I'm Larry STROTHE.
And I'm James GONIS.
Keep America strong.
And from all of us at Monster Party,
Happy New Fear.
Please, God, no new fears.
Well, like I was saying, Matt, this was in my fridge. It's been there for a while. A friend gave
Surprisingly, it just happened to be in your fridge.
It's called Necro. And notice the evil
copyright trademark,
the evil spooky face on it. And I'm like, oh, let me try this beer. I'm like, it's powerfully fruity. It's got fruity.
Powerfully fruity. You heard it from Larry STROTHE.
Yes.
Don't rush the stores all at once, ladies and gentlemen. Powerfully fruity. From the people who brought you Fruity Pebbles, they bring you a powerful ale based on Lord of the Rings.
No. But it's got a creepy face. And I say fruity. You can go to necromango.com. Look at that.
Jesus Christ.
Look at
You're
that.
fucking hawking the website. What? How did they get to you?
It's called.
How did you become this corporate shill all of a sudden?
It says swallow this.
Swallow. Well, let's get all their catchphrases out there.
Many years ago, a mysterious book was discovered by a group of friends in a Ferndale, Michigan basement.
Oh my God.
A translation of its contents revealed the recipe for an ancient beverage using mango juice, honey, and black pepper. What they didn't realize was that creating the beverage had dire consequences.
Okay, did you earn your free T-shirt and $5 gift certificate?
See, and here's the funny thing. You're like.
I hope there's a funny thing coming.
No, because you're like.
Because this is the new year.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is the new year. I've got people banging on my door saying, "Hey,
do you?
Monster
Party? Really? When did this start?
With Monster Party.
Morgan. Morgan.
No. It's like I only say things that I like, and I'm not getting any kind of benefits here.
How many of these have you had?
I don't know. But start off the new year with a bang.
How many have they
Little
made?
mango.
How many beers, or is that an ale or a beer? I think it's an ale, right?
Check this out.
Okay, no, you're not going to read anymore.
No, Sean's gonna love it because it says
this is the foundation trilogy of
it says
beer copy.
But you're gonna love this, Matt. It says once opened, however, no one can say for sure if it can be conquered. Defend your soul or join us, Necro.
Okay, all right. I think no one could argue that you haven't done your job for your corporate masters, okay? Nicely done.
No, you're not even going to play this. So
And
this is amongst
and my
friends.
segment of the show is brought to you by Blue Coal.
Hey, there's James.
There's
Hey.
James. Hi, James.
How's it going?
Did everyone have a good Christmas? Everyone have a good holiday? Did you enjoy your gift?
Define good.
Yeah, it was nice to spend it at home from us. It was
Define
we
good.
liked it.
You opened a gift and you go, oh, what fun surprises!
It was lovely. We had a very nice time. Carrie and her father and stepmother were with us, and we opened lots of presents. It was lovely. We consider ourselves blessed because we were doing okay.
Yeah,
Good is relative these days.
Right.
yeah, really is.
So we came out ahead, and there's some treasures were exchanged. I got some lovely stuff, but more importantly, I got the Christmas message of togetherness.
I thought it was ifs.
Well, apparently there's more than one. I've been informed.
Don't you guys feel like when after the Grinch stole all the gifts,
Yeah.
and he's up on that mountain, he's waiting for all the Who's to come out, and all the Who's come out, they hold hands and they sing a song. Do you know, if I was one of those Who's, I'd be one of those ones screaming at the top of my lungs, going, "Where are my damn presents, son of a bitch!" I'd be that Who. That's who I.
You are a conundrum.
Not surprising.
Growth. It's funny because you attack things from both sides. You'll be so reverent to the traditional ideas of Christmas and these family movies.
Yes.
Get all into it. But actually, you are the Grinch. You want all the presents. If you were the Grinch, you would not have even hung around Whoville.
No.
But you would have been in that sleigh on your way to Costa Rica.
No, if I was the Grinch, what I would have done, first of all, is why waste your time getting the tree and stuff? Just check all the gifts, find out what's vintage stuff, what stuff's still in the package. Take all the good thing. It's like you find here's a bottle of wine. We'll leave that. Oh, here's a rice cooker. We can leave that.
Well,
Ooh,
that's the difference
here's a
between
vintage
you and the Grinch, is that you're looking for quality items where he just wanted to ruin Christmas.
What
Yes.
if he found a bottle of Necro?
Yeah.
Well, if he did, he'd go to the back and he'd say, "Oh my gosh!
Oh,
many
no.
years ago, let me read this. Many years ago, a mysterious book."
Holy
He'd probably
shit.
read it.
I'm in a time loop. All right. Well,
But-
you're in good spirits.
But
That's nice to see.
but everyone opened their special
oh.
gift.
Yes.
Oh, Larry, that was
Yeah, that's
quite lovely.
awesome.
In
Now-
fact, I think we should do a
It's like
calendar.
I don't want to use it. I just want to like
No.
put it up or
We
something.
should
No,
do
you-
we should do a calendar of each of us coming out of the shower.
Oh, like
Yeah.
Psycho or different
Or,
ways.
well, yeah.
Or a snake. you know?
Sexy psycho.
So listen, if you're just tuning into this,
Oh,
You know,
stop. It's the new
guy-
year. No one's buying this routine anymore. God, you can't get through 2 episodes without having a fucking catchphrase.
so okay. So listen, if
You're just
if you're
tuning
listening,
in, which is makes no sense whatsoever.
To the wonderful friends I had,
Yes.
these special custom designed towels that say Monster Party Podcast.
And they are
Yeah.
lovely, Larry, and genuinely that was a wonderful surprise.
Yeah,
Yes.
Because
it
my
was.
thought was, when you hop out of the shower, when do I want you to really think of Monster Party? It's when you are wiping yourself when you come out of that shower. You go, Monster Party. Or
when the Y in Monster Party is cupping my balls.
Yes,
I will think of you.
Yes, yes. But I forget what my point was.
It doesn't matter. There's never any point. Don't try to look for something that's not there.
It was a very special towel.
I loved it. And
Sean, I want you to use it, Sean.
Many stitches.
I want you to use it. Be selective when you use it.
Yeah.
Let's say company's coming over. Don't put out the Monster Party towel.
No.
And it's only for special occasions when you go to the shower.
Right.
Yeah.
Maybe like weekends or something. I'll use.
Yes.
Yeah. No. When I have my 1-person pool party, I will get that baby out.
Yeah.
And yes, it doesn't have billions of stitches, but it has billions of terries in the terry cloth.
Yes.
Indeed.
And as far as the vintage stuff, you guys got
it is vintage now.
I got you little vintage things. Like if we were 10 and we go to the dime store, we got some fun gifts.
I loved all those things.
Yeah,
I loved all those things, Larry.
I think the only thing that isn't vintage is the shrunken head. That's the one,
Well, that's
I think the wax lips aren't vintage,
and the wax lips.
But they're fun. They're just fun.
Shrunken head, because the shrunken head, I could tell that like it was made to look retro, but it wasn't retro.
But that still, rubber knife, guys, that is from like the late 60s.
Cool.
I love it. I loved all
the shrunken head, because the shrunken head isn't vintage. I actually took it out of the package and it's hanging above my desk.
That's awesome.
There you go.
I'm going to put mine on my rear view mirror, I think.
Yeah, that's
nice. I like that. Yeah.
Cool.
You should have 2 of them then, right? Like dice?
Yeah, exactly.
You guys remember, weren't shrunken heads like a rage in the 70s?
They were.
Oh yeah,
there's
a cool article. Yeah, there's a cool article I came across where like it tells the whole history of how the first company that created it as a novelty, and then it's like all slight variations. Some were cheaper, some were nicer, and it was popular throughout decades. I mean, it still is.
And you had the Vincent Price shrunken head thing with the apple, right?
Yeah, that was an apple.
I didn't have that, but I remember seeing that commercial. Yeah.
Yes, but you had to make those. It didn't come with the shrunken head. You had to carve them out of a fucking apple.
Well, and that's not going to last.
But see,
I mean, unless you encase it in lucite or something.
Yeah. But see, I remember, guys, I went to Disneyland in 76, and they had shrunken heads being sold at Disneyland at the African safari area.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. You know what I still have is my it's a little sculptured skull with a snake going through the eye. And that I also got from Disneyland in Adventureland.
Mm-hmm.
I love all that stuff. Yeah.
And my giant rubber iguana, which I still have, that was from 70s. He's still in great shape. I called him Caesar. Yeah.
Hey, what I'm thinking of doing with the stuff that you gave us, Larry, is and it's interesting that you gave us that stuff because I gave you this vintage. They're monster pendants.
Yes.
And it's on the card that was used to advertise these things. And I love that kind of stuff.
In a gum machine. In a gum machine.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
And I love that kind of stuff. So what I want to do, and I've been collecting these shadow boxes because I have a bunch of those kind of things and I want to put them in the shadow boxes and display them. What I want to do with your thing is I want to do the same thing. I want to get a bigger shadow box and do almost like a collage.
That's so fun.
Of all those things. Because I love that stuff. Nice. Yeah. I'm as charmed by that stuff as you are, I think.
Yeah, it's a bygone era,
So good. I thought everybody had great gifts. And I love your CD this year, James.
We listened to it.
You put the darkness on there.
Yes.
Made me very happy.
That was for you, Matt.
I appreciate it. Yeah.
But I like the song. So.
It's a great song. Yeah. It's funny,
Yeah.
Well, I was very happily surprised with all your wonderful gifts. So thank you. I also want to share with you that my good friend Gary Norris in Seattle, who's become an avid listener of the show.
We love Gary.
Yeah, he surprised me with a surprise gift. Star Trek, the original series on Blu-ray.
Oh my God.
No.
So now
you have no excuse.
No excuse.
Wow.
Start at the beginning, James, and just stick with it. They're less than an hour long.
This is hilarious. What did I get you as well, Larry?
Well, I got a whole Blu-ray set of
Not all Blu-ray. Not all Blu-ray.
not all Blu-ray. Not all Blu-ray. That's true.
Some Blu-ray.
Of Doctor Who series. Now,
Oh,
The
cool.
Tennant stuff.
yes, and it's funny
Nice.
because I take it you guys, everyone likes Tenet, right? Everyone is like,
Yeah.
We do like Tennant, yes.
It's very good.
okay.
That was a golden age.
Yeah.
And I did not get you the Chris Eccleston stuff, which you should watch before you watch the David Tennant. But that's one season, and I'm sure you could find that somewhere. Or, James can work his magic.
Oh, yeah.
But what's the point? I have all of these now.
Well, no, you need the lead in now.
Can I
You
just
need the
throw
lead-
one in? Can I just throw? Am I going to get the whole Doctor
Yeah,
Who
you-
introduction? It's like, hey, let me see what this Doctor Who's all about. Let me throw in.
Find Blink and just watch that.
I've heard about this. I know about.
I can't remember which season. I think
Sean
it's
Sean loves this one. Blink.
second
It's a good
or
one, yeah.
third season. But yeah, you'll like that. It's good. It's look, we're all trying to help each other grow. Gary Norris
are.
is helping James
God
grow.
love him. Yes.
And I think if you watch those and you get into kind of maybe a rhythm of watching them,
Mhm.
you'll find that they're not slow.
Star Treks, you mean, or
Yes.
Oh
Yes.
yeah, I'm primed. I'm primed. It's going to be in beautiful Blu-ray quality, and
I think
And
you'll-
James,
yeah.
James, because of Blu-ray, you can watch them with the enhanced effects. And I'd say,
Do
in
it.
in your case, do it, because they're
Yes.
not
Agreed.
overdone, and they're really just improving the pretty shabby effects that they had at the time. So, but it's not intrusive, and it doesn't take away from the shows at all.
That's
So I
true.
would say watch them that way. It might be even easier to get into it that way.
Yep.
In fact, because you're not really familiar with the show, you probably won't even realize or think about it at all. You know?
right.
So yeah.
But it's nice to have the option. Sometimes. You want the
Oh no,
vintage,
no, it was very smart for them to put out both, because
Yeah.
that's definitely the way to do it. So
Yeah. If you like seeing hairs in the gate,
yeah.
then yeah, definitely go back to the old one.
And Sean,
Authenticity.
Yes, and Sean, thank you again for my wonderful Exorcist figure. Nothing made me happier than, first of all,
Because
my
we
daughter.
took a chance. Yeah, I figured for sure you're going to get it for Kathy.
I
But I
did.
didn't know if you were going to get it for
But
yourself.
I
And
wanted
and Gina got me one too, of course. We have to have the Exorcist.
And
And I love my Bruce Lee from you.
Yeah, I figured that would be a good one for you.
That's
Matt.
perfect.
And I also got the Fly figure from Gina too.
Do you know we watched Enter the Dragon over the holidays? That was one of our
Oh,
Christmas movies.
It's a classic. It never
Because
gets old.
Carrie's folks they'd never seen a Bruce Lee movie.
Oh yeah, okay.
Oh.
That's a good introduction. Yeah,
That's the one.
They loved it.
yeah.
And I
And then-
received from Sean and Gina a Hannibal Lecter Amigo figure.
That's right.
Oh, yes.
Oh.
Hey, after we watched Enter the Dragon, we then watched A Fistful of Yen from a Kentucky Fried Movie.
Oh yeah, that's
Oh.
hilarious.
And they like that too. And
Yeah, that's great.
it's interesting how just what a loving comedy version that is.
Oh yeah, enormous genitals. This is Lo Wang. This is
Oh,
Hung Low.
remember the
and
70s.
this is enormous genitals.
Who didn't love a good dick joke back then?
I know.
And we still love them.
It's so funny. Yeah.
Did you hear that Don Wells died of COVID?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so.
I know.
She was the last one,
I know.
and
I mean, she was 82, but still, it's like,
I think she still had. She had more time.
yeah, oh for sure.
My uncle dated her.
Really?
No.
Yeah.
Like when? Like in the 70s, 80s?
No, like the 60s, I want to say.
During the wow,
Way back in the day.
in her prime.
Possibly early 70s, but he told
Wow.
me, he just told me a few years ago when I saw him, I was like, holy
Wow.
shit. Damn.
Yeah, really.
You know, she about a year. I think it was a year ago. She auctioned off a lot of her stuff, a lot of her personal items
Oh,
from
yeah.
the show. And
Yeah.
I'm wondering if she did it because, well, I'm 80 now, and might as well go to some fans and
Yeah, right.
make it a little easier for me to live. So I think she had more time. But it's so tragic. And there's a bunch of things that have been on Facebook. Do you remember the sequence in Gilligan's Island when the girls did like a rock group, the Queen Bees or something like that? They all
Vaguely,
did a
yeah.
song, "You Need Me," and they showed that. And watching it definitely Don Wells is just smoking.
Oh my God.
You know, Tina Louise is beautiful.
Yeah, she is, but
But there's something about that attitude that she has that makes
it's that
standoffish.
super squeaky, like kind of this, like she's the ultimate girl next door. But also
she also dressed sexier than.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. Her wardrobe accentuated her figure way more than like. I don't think
Ginger.
I don't think Ginger was ever out of a long dress. You know, I mean, and she was hot too. But man, Dawn Wells. Yeah, I mean,
plus pigtails. It's cute. Pigtails are cute.
Checks every box.
I know it really does. It really does.
So I think the last one now is Tina Louise. I think she's the only survivor.
Yeah,
right.
I think you're right. Yeah,
and she's kind of hostile to the whole Gilligan thing. Right?
Yeah, she was for a long. She has. Not that she really had much of a career though. After that, I mean,
here's a question. Okay, you got the Howells there together. You got the skipper and Gilligan. They run the ship. The professor, Marianne, and Ginger, they were taking a 3-hour tour by themselves. They just happened to be on the boat.
Yeah, really. Yeah.
Were they friends with them? I mean, were they loners?
No, everyone has a backstory.
What was their backstory?
Well, what we don't know is maybe Tina Louise, as the movie star, just said, you know what, I want to get away from all the paparazzi.
I want to be alone.
Yeah, I want to be alone. Okay, and then the professor, he said, I need to do some research on something. It'll be quick, and he jumps on the boat. And as far as like Marianne, I think there was a later episode.
Hot for Gilligan.
No.
Maybe she was hoping to meet a guy on the tour.
Yeah,
maybe she was.
Yeah, and if she didn't, it was only going to be 3 hours. She'd go on another one, and a different one, So.
Oh, okay. Well, there you have it.
Now, if you're going to say to me, so why does everyone have all this luggage for a 3-hour tour? Now that I can't help you with, buddy. I don't know.
My thing with Gilligan's Island, though, is that it just never was funny enough.
But I have it has a charm now that I find it funny.
That laugh track didn't help you, man. Laugh track didn't help you.
And normally it does, surprisingly, but not that show. There's a handful of episodes, like one where they try to this Beatles-esque group goes up to the island. Like I do like that one.
Yeah, well, it was so ridiculous. It was,
but most of them I was just like, it was really just the same gags kind of over and over again, and to me it didn't hold up.
Matt,
yes, Sean.
No, what Gene and I have been watching lately, actually, because you had mentioned on the podcast. And I remember as a little kid, I think my mom just watched it. That's why it was on all the time. And that's The Mothers-in-Law.
Yeah.
Yeah. Isn't that a weird one?
I mean, it's like hit or miss. Like I hate it. They all fall into that. So many shows, especially because it was produced by Desi Arnaz. So many of the later episodes we got to put on a show, a talent show. Like, I hate those.
Yeah, I know.
And Maude did that too in their later seasons.
Yeah.
But when it's just them bickering over like domestic things, it's hilarious. Because like
Kay Ballard is hilarious, and Eve Arden is always great too.
Eve Arden is great too, though.
But Kay Ballard is laugh out loud funny,
really funny. Like I don't really know her. I know she was like a comedian and actor, but I don't really know her other than that show.
She's in The Ritz, the movie The Ritz.
Okay, but
which is another quite funny comedy about a gay bathhouse.
Oh, okay, but we watched it on and off. Yeah, and it's pretty funny though. And that as soon as I heard the theme music, it all came back to me because I know, like I watched it as a kid all the time. Maybe it was in syndication by
I dare them to go after us for humming the Mothers-in-Law theme.
Somehow,
it is pretty funny though. I mean, really, it's Kay Ballard and Eve Arden that make.
And then they changed the guy out too. They changed Roger C. Carmel.
He leaves?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yes.
We only watched the first.
And I did a little research, and I think what they say is that he left because he had some problems.
And that was around the same time as
reefer related or something like that.
Oh,
but,
really?
Yeah.
Yeah, we haven't watched too many. I mean, we've watched a handful, but and that was around the same time that the original Trek was on. So he would have been doing Harry Mudd at the time too, because it was 68, I think.
He was great. He was great.
He's hilarious. I love him.
He's hilarious. And the show, the one thing with the show is that you could tell that Desi was really trying to do another I Love Lucy.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's pretty.
But it has its charm.
Yeah, it has its charm.
Yeah. No, that's great.
Yeah.
Hey, you want to start this thing?
Yeah. We should.
Before I do, just share something with you. Don't you love it when you stop at a friend's house, social distance, and they said, hey, we've been cleaning out our garage. I'm trying to get rid of this stuff, and I'm trying to sell this stuff, and nobody wants it. You think anyone might be interested in this? And my daughter takes a look, and my daughter goes, I'll take the whole frickin' box.
What do you got?
Whole box of clowns.
Oh my God. Oh, that's a great one. That's a great one.
These were made in the 1980s. They're made by
wow.
It was a company, 85. It was a company called Caroling Kids, where they made carolers for Christmas.
Oh, okay.
And then they made a bunch of clowns. And so we have a giant box of clowns. My daughter's all excited because she goes, I want this one. I'll take the whole box. And we're like, great. Now we got to throw the whole box of clowns in our car.
Wow.
But, and so the clown that Larry is showing us it's your classic clown. It's got what would seem to be a very friendly, non-threatening face.
Yes.
But somehow I still find it threatening.
Yeah.
You should see the other ones.
Oh, okay.
Different sitting positions.
That reminds me. That reminds me. By the way, we definitely should do a creepy clowns.
Sure.
Episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm game.
I think my daughter would love to.
I think we talked about that.
Do a
yeah, we should do a clown.
Let's do that instead.
Now I'm ready to
start
this.
I do have a question about this one.
Oh yeah.
So, one, can we just do this conversational, or do we need to do each person, or how are we going to do this?
I have 9.
I have a couple.
You have 5?
I have at least 5. But my question is the what the fuck? Are we talking about the end of a movie where it's ambiguous? We're like, what were they trying to say? What happened?
Be one of them. I think it just can be anything that like pulls the rug out from under you, or is a crazy twist, or
so we're talking about twists, or
because in some cases
I thought it was open to interpretation. There's 4 of us. James
or just like a whoa.
Let's just go with it then.
What does James say?
What do you say, James? This is your idea.
It's open, twists, ambiguous, just something just like worth talking about.
Okay.
And I'm sure we have a lot of overlap.
Because memorable ending.
To shake things up a little bit, there's an ending of a film that gets criticized that I want to defend. So,
okay. Let's do this conversational then, because I think it'll be it'll move along faster. And honestly, guys, I can't have this.
You don't like us.
I love you too much.
This to be over as quickly as possible.
Already this is going on long, and so
like 40 minutes.
This is beautiful. I love it. No, I'm not sorry. I'm so happy to be talking to you. But you know how it is. I get to editing, and next thing you know, it's I see calendar pages turning, and it's the time machine. It's the candles going down very quickly, and the Morlock's face is melting. So
I think anyone says the time machine, we've got a problem.
No, that one I got. That one I understood. Okay. Well, let's just go with it. Let's just see where it goes. I love this. I love this new attitude. Woo. I love this new leaf.
This new 2021.
All right. Okay.
Look out.
Let's just start her then. Okay. So give me a second here, guys.
Yeah.
Jesus, where'd it go? Oh, I had this right in front of me. And then I started thinking about Bilbo and Frodo, and I started to
Aragorn, and
I started to get a little
palpitations.
And I was just like, what about them? What happened to them? Where'd they go? Jesus, I had this right here.
That's okay. I'm going to take another swig of my necro.
Why don't you read me a little more from
many years ago. Well, it's like once opened, however, no one can say for sure if it can be conquered. Defend your soul or join us.
Join us.
Necro Mango Con. Ooh.
All right.
Okay. So I'm sorry, Sean.
Hold on. Yeah, hold on 1 second. I got to pee real bad.
All right.
Actually, so do I. I'll be right back.
Okay.
Wow.
Look who has a healthy prostate.
Actually, what you don't know is my dick is hanging out right now.
Ah.
I'm just.
Oh my!
Oh.
I thought you were going to say it's so long that it reaches the toilet.
No. I'm not going to make that claim. I'm not. Having a big long penis is not. It's not all that it's cut up to be.
Well, remember when we were working on the John Waters thing,
Mm-hmm.
and I did all this research, and I was learning about John Holmes.
Yeah.
And they said that John Holmes, he had this long dick, but it was hard for him to actually get it hard, like to get it. It was so big.
And this is pre-Viagra. Yeah.
And they said that as hard as it got was like a loofah.
Yeah.
A soggy loofah. I forget who said that.
Yeah.
So now, on that note,
Happy New Fear from Monster Party. That, yeah.
Keep America strong.
do we want any new? I don't know if I want any new fears.
Well, that goes with the theme,
Actually, there you go. Sean says Happy New Fear. And Matt,
Please, God, no more new fears.
Oh my!
Yeah,
You're right.
At the very end.
You're right.
All right, let's do it.
Fears, yeah, and then
Please, no new fears.
But do it how your spooky thing though. You did it really well. Happy New Fears.
Who, me? Yeah. Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we should say.
Put it-
If you
hey,
say.
John, put on a cloak.